Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, friends and family beyond the binary, hello and welcome to Overwatch 2 here at NECC. We are here on week number 8. Myself, Warren Juggle God, him and joined on the mic as always by Silhav Danum. How are you doing today?
It's another great day, but it's an important day, especially kicking off with this first match on the B Stream Juggle because it's the number 1 seed versus the number 2 seed, so a really, really important match in this Champions division coming up in the University of Cincinnati versus Southern New Hampshire Sapphire. So really, really excited to see where this goes because now this is a difference-making game. Now we're at the point where playoffs are around the corner and everything is really important. So with that in mind, just even though these teams have cleared their spots, the seeding is still important, and this is those kinds of like high-end moments that we may see a rematch down the line in this division.
Yeah, I think that's very likely, right? These two teams right now, as you said, sporting spotless records at this point, right? University of Cincinnati, Red is at 6-0 right now,
6-0.
whereas Southern New Hampshire University at 7-0, and while, we can't talk a whole lot about, how these two teams might fare against each other, given just we haven't seen them. We can talk about some of the common teams they have faced. And there's there's a stretch of 3 of them, right? Newberry, Clark Red, and Toronto Silver that they have both all faced. And I think the important thing to note is that Southern New Hampshire had a little bit more trouble with them than University of Cincinnati Red, with the exception of Toronto Silver. Right? Where, Cincinnati Red went 3-0, whereas the Southern New Hampshire went 3-2. So I think that's an interesting stat line here, right? That may bear some difference. And I mean, look at the map differential, right? Half a map difference between the two.
I mean, it's a half a map, but when you look at how many maps did they lose on for Southern New Hampshire, it's 21-7 and 18. Like that's just a few more overall maps. We're still waiting on a result from UCal Red to confirm what I assume is probably 7-0 to match it. So realistically, that tells me that Southern New Hampshire's kind of struggled at moments, and that may be the kind of difference maker here. So if either of these teams really have been watching the tape and really been studying, they should understand how to exploit this, especially because these two teams just run very different styles of play. And we'll check that out as we go and see the players because realistically, both of these teams want to do different things, and these two styles are going to clash really, really hard once we get into the play.
They certainly are. And another thing I want to mention real quick before we get onto those rosters and we talk about each of these players individually is that these teams, right, that they both faced in common, they faced them back in week 2 through 5 or so. So it has been a little while. Both of these teams have had time, I think, to evolve and develop. And especially within these last couple of weeks, I think a lot has kind of solidified or cemented itself in place in terms of like the meta and what we're expecting from a lot of these teams and a lot of these compositions. So, I think that is a little bit we could talk about, but given that it's been so long, certainly things have changed and they may both be looking substantially different. But let's take a moment now to look at these rosters and talk about these players as individuals.
Yeah, we've got coming in for a University of Cincinnati. We've got Reginald, Andog, Eric, Chu, and Nacho, and all of these players, I mean, obviously have put in a lot of work across the season. But the ones that we're keeping an eye on here, at least for me, is Andog, who is coming in as their first season on tank. Being that we kind of dropped to 5, and now the tank role being so much more important, it really is a harder role mentally to kind of come through and to switch over and take up that position and that kind of shot calling leadership from the single tank position really can be a lot of stress. So I'm watching Andog here because they have a lot to prove coming in as like a new tank player.
And another interesting point about them, too, is they were a Doomfist player on DPS, right? That's where they came from. Yeah. So we're expected to see a lot of Doomfist comps coming out tonight. And I think something that it bears mentioning as well is that a lot of teams aren't really facing a lot of Doomfist players, right? Because Doomfist isn't necessarily that prominent in the meta right now, but we're here in the Champions Division, which is a very high SR, right? Yeah. So I think this could be a surprise factor. This could be an X factor, right? A lot of, I think, how this game's going to go will come down to how Southern New Hampshire University handles Andog. In addition, Chu, I think this is just an interesting kind of counterpoint, right? Chu has been playing a lot of Mei. So kind of this Mei Doomfist combination is odd, off kilter, but I mean, the 6-0 record speaks for itself.
Yeah, it's hard to not. We'll see that in question when we get into play. But really, we can't make any guesses out of that. So let's jump over to the other side and see who Southern New Hampshire is bringing, because they've got Pepto, Console Noob, Osiren, One Trick, and Biso, who there's two players I particularly want to shout out. Shout out to Console Noob, who really coming over recently from the console world is not hard. If you've known anything about the console world of Overwatch, it's been tough going. So to come over and pick up PC Overwatch at this level is a huge, huge step. And the other one is Osiren, who has been a star DPS. I got to chat with them for a little bit back at a Boston Uprising event, and they are not only just a great player, but a great person, a crack shot. So I really do expect to see some great hit scan out of Osiren.
I think another feather that we have to put in the cap of Console Noob is the fact that they're going on to tank, right? Yeah. They swapped from console to tank. And tank is just one of the most difficult positions, honestly, in Overwatch 2, right? You have to... So much relies on you, right? And you don't have any backup in that role like the other roles have. So I think that's just especially impressive, too. Something else that you... Oh, go ahead.
I would say the other thing to that, though, is that this team does love running Reinhardt and Brawl comps. So while the mechanics may not change incredibly between like Reinhardt's or Winston's necessarily, I mean, the pace is different. So like you said, like it is a big step up in a lot of ways.
Well, we are just about ready to load into game here, and it will be Ilios that we are starting out on. This will be University of Cincinnati's pick.
Yeah. Ilios is such an odd pick given what we're expecting to see here. We were looking at is there going to be Doomfist plays? Is there going to be Brawl comps? And the Brawl comp is kind of a given. That's kind of become a meta across a lot of these levels of play. But Andog picking up this Doom, I'm very curious. It's so hard to talk about their comp and talk about the Doomfist because we haven't seen a lot of it, and as we know, like Doomfist is a very make or break character. If you have a good Doomfist leading the charge and creating the chaos, it does a lot here. So really just keeping an eye on Andog over for Yukao Red versus Reinhardt. This is two very, very colliding levels of play going to happen here.
Ooh, that is a scary TP to do if you're going up against the Doom, but they do make it to point first. That being Southern New Hampshire. But in the meantime, Chu already starting to impress. Pick on to Osiren. Biso falls quickly thereafter, so... Yukao Red in the driver's seat at this point. The Doomfist so far working wonders for them.
Yeah, the one thing that this Doomfist comp does have in its favor is it does collapse on this death ball from different angles very, very well between the Doomfist, the Genji, and, just the rest of the team falling into it. There's a lot of different ways that it's very hard for this this dive comp this brawl comp out of Southern New Hampshire. They'll make the changes and match dive now, but it's still very, very a difficult place. Now they're playing from behind the 8-ball with ultimates, so this is going to be tough for Southern New Hampshire going into this fight.
Yeah, especially given they're going to have to kind of cross this neutral ground as well. Now, being a dive composition, it will be a little bit easier, but still not a simple feat. Going to be a nice bit of pressure put onto Biso from Andog, but now Console Noob has found the point, but Chu continuing to find tremendous value. Really showing up on the Hanzo in a big way.
Huge, yeah, huge. Also put in several picks in that last fight, so, we were watching for a couple of these players. Chu is one we have to watch out now, especially given how quickly they built Dragon Strike. It makes sense, though. When you look at this comp, the Doomfist creates the chaos. You really have to focus him out, and that just enables Chu to really get those crossfires from safety and really be able to do that. So now I'm just curious how he puts this Dragon Strike to use.
It could be a great zoning ultimate once SNHU gets to point. Of course, being very mobile both compositions, they should be able to dodge it, but it could split the team up in a considerable way. Well, we got 75% on the board right now. Still don't have a dive onto point coming in from SNHU. With Console Noob going so low, they're going to be forced to back off again just a little bit, but a big posing beam coming in, causing Andog a lot of problems, but not enough that they aren't able to get out of it. Here comes now the Kitsune rush from Nacho on point. Biso unable to do it as they are gone for the moment, being the victim of another one of Chu's big logs that Hanzo is known to throw out. But at the moment, you, Cal, Red, primed to take this point. We have lost the feed here in the booth, so we should be getting that back relatively soon. But I think it's a foregone conclusion. You, Cal, Red is going to take this first sub map.
They will. Yeah, they will take that first map, and pretty handedly 100-0 at that. The thing worth noting while we're waiting and the black screen of the void is oh, that's unfortunate. Our observer DC from games, so I guess it'll take us a minute or two to get back. But the thing worth noticing that I want to talk about for a moment here while we're buying for time, Andog never died. Andog did not die once. Was never really dealt with. It was just allowed to create the chaos, allowed to just kind of do what they want, and the focus fire was never really there. So, kind of like you mentioned, do teams really know how to play against Doomfist comps? Do we understand how quickly or how we need to focus down? Do we just ignore him? And that can be a problem if you haven't scrimmed that. This unique comp really can do a lot of lifting on its own. And I mean, Andog obviously coming over as a DPS to a Doomfist player really says a lot about them being able to translate this over to a similar but new role.
Yeah, I think we're seeing that proficiency come out, and honestly, I can't say lack of preparation, right, for this competition, because
how do you prepare for that?
When and why are you going to prepare for this, right?
Yeah.
I think it's just maybe a gap here, right? That SNHU is going to have to overcome pretty quickly. Looks like we do have our observer back in the game, so hopefully we'll be getting that feed back up relatively soon. But, I think one of the picks that we did see come out from New Hampshire that I really liked was the Echo, because let's break this down by a couple points, right? First off, the DPS that University of Cincinnati was running don't really have much they can do with that, right? A Hanzo and a Genji. Sure, the Hanzo maybe can land a shot, but you really want to hit scan in that position, right? And then the Doomfist just by nature has a lot less health than a lot of the tanks, right? Sure, they build up a lot of shields when they use their abilities, but given that they have such a small health pool, that focusing beam from Echo can work wonders, and we saw that almost take Andog out in that very last fight. Before that last fight even got started, actually. So I think a little bit more focus fire, maybe out of Southern New Hampshire University, coupled with that focusing beam from Echo, could be a part of the solution moving forward.
Yeah, it's just going to be digging into your bag of tricks and kind of figuring out what do we need to really put as minimal resources into this Doomfist to complete the kills. Because like you said, like the Echo's good for it. It may mean you have to dig a little deeper and pull out something that is a lot more of a trap, like an actual Junkrat or a Cassidy, your flavor of just kind of big bursty damage that you can really burn him down with. Because Andog just got so much value, was everywhere over the map. And meanwhile, that just cleared up the way for Chu to just kind of, like you said, just put those shots in and really just kind of make the damage work that the Doomfist was lacking. So, I did like the flexibility, like you said, out of Southern New Hampshire, though. They were making the adaptions, they were trying to adjust to it. It just never really came to fruition because they were too busy trying to figure out who do we need to go. You could see the dive from the Winston onto Chu immediately got kind of bounced off, but meanwhile in the back, like Andog was just kind of in there doing whatever they needed to do and continue to win. They had to go focus that out. They turned their attention, and Chu just continued to fire off shots. So, really, just kind of like getting the panic and the anxiety of seeing the Doomfist out will go a long way, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right. Actually, once the team kind of settles down and figures out, okay, what's our approach? How are we going to handle this? We're going to see an adaptation, and especially from a team that has a spotless record so far, right? You know that they're going to be able to, I think, pun not intended, but roll with the punches, right? So I'm excited to see how that happens. It looks like we are actually going back in now. I was getting ready to send us to a break, but I think we got everything sorted out. So big thank you to production, sorting this out, handling these problems. Certainly don't want me back there trying to do it, but we are here, and perfect. We're going to get to see the second full sub map.
Oh, beautiful. We're going to go to the beautiful well. So, again, like I'm looking for SNHU to see what are they bringing in. They are bringing in a couple adaptions. The Osiren now over on the Cassidy. One of the options you can use to shut down that Doomfist, but it's really going to require, I think, a little bit more support than just Osiren here if you're going to keep Andog in check. So I'm really watching how this team play out of Sapphire goes together.
But the other thing they might be doing, too, is they might be just going for the backline, right? It could be kind of how you play against Pharah sometimes, but no! In fact, that is going to be a 4-player effort to take out Andog. So, these adaptations, at least at the moment, seem to be working, because this is the first time they've gone down. She will strike back with a pick onto Osiren. They're getting pressured out pretty heavily by Console Noob. He's able to get the pick onto them, but look at this. Andog is back into the fight, able to get a pick onto Pepto as well. This is dancing in front of them. So, despite Andog going down, University of Cincinnati, Red, just did a wonderful job maintaining here and winning the fight in the end.
Yeah, that was a returning 4K for Andog. So the other part of this equation that maybe I guess needs to be stated in case this comes up in the future is once Andog is out, you need to complete the rest of the team kills, right? Andog is efficient. A lot of that team from UCal Red is fast, and they can return really, really quickly. So cleaning up these kills is going to be equally parts efficient. Andog already has their ult up. I mean, they're a little bit close to most of theirs, but Andog is going to get probably a lot of value out of this Meteor Strike, so I'm watching for that.
Yeah, and Meteor Strike as well is something that the value is a little bit odd, right? Because you don't necessarily get it from kills a lot of the time. You get it from just being able to sustain and stay in a fight for an incredibly long time. UCal Red is down 1 player, but again, kind of this ability to sustain through all those damages turning up in a big way, and Pepto actually having a very hard time kind of staying alive right now. Andog with a nice punch almost. It takes a trip into the well, but does not in the end. They are going to get the pick onto Osiren with their ultimate. By the cleanup kill as well, and UCal Red is just showing no signs at all of slowing down.
They are really giving it to the #1 seed here. Wow. I'm sorry, the #2 seed here. Yeah, Andog absolutely just putting on a clinic for Doomfist players here. You did get value out of that Meteor Strike, and that's kind of the best you were hoping for. You know, you usually use it for reposition, so that's just net gain value. Now it'll come down to Chu and Nacho to get some value on their ults.
It's going to be a nice Dragon Strike, too, to isolate a couple of players. Now Andog and the rest of the team can go, but Pepto hits a 2K Pulse Bomb. That should be the fight there. So Southern New Hampshire University going to get their first big fight win here on Ilios.
Yeah, talk about getting value out of ults that usually you maybe only get a little bit. That's a great come up from Pepto. It does save them several more ults. So now with control of the point, they'll have Sound Barrier going into the next fight. I mean, between Sound Barrier and Primal, there should be sustain available, especially versus this Blade and the Kitsune. So just make sure you can complete the kills and use your sustain well for Southern New Hampshire.
Or just have Osiren take out Eric right off the bat. You know, that is another option. And let's highlight Osiren for a couple seconds, because they've actually been a pretty big part, I think, of the success that we've seen so far coming out from Southern New Hampshire. They're going to get pressured
100%.
out pretty hard by Doomfist. But the Deadeye will find one. Nacho not quite able to climb and escape from that perch. And with the Primal Rage coming in as well from Console Noob, that is another fight win for Sapphire.
Yeah, Osiren, we were asking for them to come up with something here, and they sure showed up on that Cassidy to a great effect. Managed to save Sound Barrier as well. It'll have to get to use here because there is a plethora of ultimates coming up on UCal Red. It may just get thrown in to kind of survive the initial onslaught and buy some time here. But they can do it. They have to build these ultimates and get the rest of them in quick.
It's going to be interesting to see what they use first. It will be the Kitsune Rush. Andog now has the Meteor Strike coming in as well. Suzu had to be used, though. This is a big opportunity. That's going to be a stun coming in, though, from Andog onto 2 players from Southern New Hampshire, so the point will flip back in their favor, but there is going to be one more recontest available here for Southern New Hampshire.
I don't know that they really will get, though. They won that on just the Kitsune Rush, Juggle.
Yeah.
There's still 3 ultimates up. I mean, they gave Sound Barrier 2, but that's kind of irrelevant. They still have 3 ultimates up here, including Molten Core to just kind of split the space. I think this is a tough fight.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
What a punch from Andog. The Molten Core as well. Spread strategically at opening spots. So there's so little room for Southern New Hampshire University to try and get anything done. One Trick does use the Sound Barrier, but it's only going to prolong the inevitable. UCal Red looking like a #1 seed through and through.
Yeah, and it's hard with that performance to really deny that. There was points on the board for Southern New Hampshire in that second round, but I mean, the adaptions made and the comp that UCal Red has been showing just looks phenomenal. Shu putting in great work on that Hanzo too. Like, primarily a lot of headshots. I wish we had the stats.
Wow.
Look at that back-to-back there as well. Just excellent tracking, really incredible. I really wish we had the stats because I've seen more red circles next to that man's name in this game alone than in most of my other games. So that's
I've seen more
really
red circles from him than I have in my entire academic career.
Oh yeah, totally. I agree with you completely. Yeah, I agree with you.
That's ridiculous.
Just a wealth of very solid players from that team, and this is, like we said earlier, this is a comp that I don't know that you prepare for other than if you watch their footage. I mean, at some point, you had to consider this, that they are playing really well. You check the standings. Oh, look, they're the first seed. We should probably prepare for this. You can't be blindsided by this. I feel like the attempts to corral this were there, but they were just not the right answers that Southern Hampshire were looking for. And now that you kind of got the first map jitters out, maybe this is your chance to do so. Control is a little bit of an odd map in this format. So, take a breath, come back to it, think of your counters, pick it in. And I think the other key is enable Osiris. Osiris very, very good playing defensively versus that Doomfist, and I think that is something that they can continue to keep pressing on to really keep Andog in check.
I think the map pick as well could be a pretty important factor, right? I believe we are, we are going to hybrid, and look at that. I mean, University of Cincinnati, first thing they do is ban King's Row, and I think it's absolutely what you want to do here, right? You're running a Doomfist Cup, you want to stay away from the Rhine. We don't want to see Kings Row then. Southern New Hampshire is instead going to pick Midtown, which is a good option as well. I do like this because there is some high ground on all 3 points, but it is not omnipresent, right? It is not overbearing. And a Reinhardt-based composition, which is definitely what Southern New Hampshire, I think, wants to run here. Is going to fare much better. You could also do the SIG, which I think could also have a lot of success, right? You throw an accretion at Andog, knock him down for a couple seconds. That's a lot of good value.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think given the Kings Row ban, this is the best Kings Row at home that you could get for forcing a brawl comp in a lot of ways. And if that is still your plan, which I think if that's like your comfort pick and that's your comfort composition, this is a great look. But like you said, maybe you bring in the SIG. You really do need to start considering how many resources do we really need to put into keeping Andog in check here, because Osiren looks really, really great. Maybe it's time to bring out a Mercy and just go full like pocket on them. It's really hard to tell because, I mean, Andog just absolutely clearly has an understanding of Doomfist that we mortals cannot really ever claim to understand.
Yeah, and I like the thought too, right? Of again, let's harken back to like what are some of the tank picks that you can use to kind of counter this Doomfist, right? You can go Roadhog. You could go Orisa, right? Any of these tanks that I think have more crowd control abilities are where you're going to want to kind of put your effort. And in addition, maybe bring out a Mei on DPS as well, right? We talked about Chu maybe showing up on that, but they've been not only clicking heads, but turning heads on the Hanzo so far. But I think maybe you throw in a Mei, see if you can't slow down this just hyper-aggressive dive.
Yeah, I know, I agree. Like, if at some point you have to cut him off from his resources, and that is probably the other way to do it, with the other way just being, drop a Junkrat trap or drop some turrets and put it down there. Like, give him something to force him and punish him for his deception. So I'm really looking forward to these adaptions as we go in to see what they decide to bring out. There are so many options when you come to Doomfist, and like you said, like the Roadhog, you could bring in an Orisa. A lot of those options are very good versus the Doomfist, but the question is how do they hold up versus the other pieces like the Hanzo and Genji that you've seen on the other side. So very, very interested to see what both of these teams bring out. It looks like Southern New Hampshire will bring into a Ramatra comp. Looks like a little bit more of a brawly Ramatra comp, which, if you don't feel the Rhine is going to be good, or you want a little more survivability on your own for the tank, sure, that makes sense to me. I like most of those pieces, and I like Pepto over on the Mei. That was a great call. Hopefully picking up kind of that kind of isolation there. Shu opting into the Pharah really might catch them by surprise here. I mean, a projectile player through and through between the Hanzo and Pharah, apparently. But what happens when they roll out with this Pharah? Because there's not really an answer on the side of Southern New Hampshire here. I'm very concerned for Southern New Hampshire when they see this Pharah unleash.
Yeah, I mean, Biso is going to have to be the sole person dealing with this Pharah, right? And their focus is going to be split, I think, between them trying to neutralize this threat and it's just helping console noobs stay alive. And we can already see a lot of just the spam damage coming in and really forcing back Southern New Hampshire. So Cincinnati's able to take a pretty aggressive, pretty forward position here. FaZe as well, starting to throw in a little bit of damage. And Southern New Hampshire has been taking a lot down. And here we go, Chew. They take out their one big threat. Biso is down. One Trick has fallen as well. That is the support line deleted. So there's nothing left that Southern New Hampshire can do.
I mean, this poke comp out of UCal has just been brutal. The variations they bring out that work so effectively, the patient play in deciding when do we dive, how do we acknowledge when we pulled out the right amount of resources, just feels so calculated. They really do have an understanding of this. The adaptions come in from Sapphire. Pepto is going to give up the May here and go to a Tracer. Osiren will pick up the Cassidy again, and yeah, I mean, it's same answers to different problem, honestly.
Yeah.
You still have to deal with Andog, but it does help versus Chew. So One Trick even going over to the Lucio just to put some more pressure. I don't hate it. I'm really wanting to see these pieces come together though, because this is a big ask, especially with Chew having this barrage up ready to go.
And it is going to be utilized immediately. Takes down three before Biso finally from the grave finds them. There will be 2 picks, though, in response. So, UCal Red certainly still hurting. The backline, though, still alive. One Trick has fallen, though, so that should be one of the last pieces of the puzzle gone here for UCal Red. Although Pepto's causing problems on the high ground.
Yeah, the pulse pump went a little wide. Maybe just hoping to catch someone on the exit, but fine. I mean, UCal Red now still has 4 ultimates up, so now that they've cleared this, they should be able to maintain the high ground, and Chew swapping over to the May gives them a little more space control. They just have to spend their ultimates accordingly to really win this out here.
That's going to be Console Noob actually taking a tremendous amount of damage, getting slowed down. The Nano Boost has to be committed to them just to keep them alive and in this fight. You do have a bit of an advantage, though, as DPS and Andog are down. Osiren does fall to a headshot from Chew, who continues to hit headshots no matter what hero they appear to be on.
Yeah, those May headshots are way more dangerous in some ways. There's no fall-off, so that's huge. I do like this D.Va adaptation out of Console Noob. It is a lot of burst damage. We were asking for the extra burst damage, and that is huge. Go away, Kiro. We don't need you now. Right now I'm watching One Trick, though, because that has to be coming in huge here.
That's going to be a big Nano Boost coming in. It shuts down the Deadeye, and Andog's even able to get away. Chew now with the Blizzard, going to be able to find Console Noob. So, UCal Red is going to be able to move into third relatively easy, but yeah, finally Console Noob has a self-destruct ready as well, so it's not going to really matter so much for this point, but that extra survivability here on this last one could be huge. But it also, these are interesting picks coming out from Console Noob. I'm not sure that I'm a huge fan of them. I think the D.Va is better than the Ram, but I'm still not convinced.
I like it in the regards that it gives a lot more burst damage. You don't necessarily need to call in all of the team to deal down with Andog once you get that out. And self-destruct's pretty good too.
Yeah, it is. Not going to find anything this time, but they will be able to use that get out of jail free card. Get back into their mech. Carter's made it about halfway through a third here. Still 4 minutes on the clock for UCal Red. He's trying to pepper the back line just a little bit, cause some problems, keep their focus away from the front line and on them. Meantime, Chew again finds a pick. Andog causing a lot of mayhem, causing a lot of problems, able to again sustain through all of this damage coming in. They've got another Meteor Strike coming in, but they aren't going to need it because FaZe is there with the follow-up after the punches, the pummels, the smacks that come in from Andog.
I mean, those are just some very good calculated dives here, and Cart will continue to roll that whole way through. I mean, there's just, I don't know that there's anything there. The early Blizzard basically seals the fate here, Juggle. There's nothing that Southern New Hampshire can do about this.
They do have the Tracer touching point. A couple of players are picked as they try to stagger, but 3:18 on the clock here in Midtown, which, again, this was Southern New Hampshire's pick. I mean, that is a blazing fast time. This UCal Red team is terrifying.
Yeah, I would be concerned if I was in this division, because this team, man, they have shown so much coordination, so much flexibility. It is not often I expect to see a May and a Doomfist comp and expect it to work. Genuinely.
Yeah.
That's actually really mind-blowing, the fact that Chu has swapped over to the May with a Tracer and Doomfist and just continue to find headshot value, basically playing May as a sniper with the extra help that there's some wall creation to help kind of isolate targets or to help Andog get out of jail free. Additionally, like, Reginald doesn't need, on that Mercy, didn't need to, like, they were just able to be stapled to Andog, which is even more concerning, because now that tank just doesn't die. There was no one that really needed the help. Nacho was there to kind of burst it, but realistically, that UCal comp just has so much sustain and ability to play together that once you can see the machine working, it just looks so good. Sapphire is going to run it down with the Brawl, and including the Bastion, and you know what? I don't see it. Look, this Bastion needed to come out, I think, forever ago. When you talk about something that punishes tanks, I think that needed to be my first pick, was this Bastion. I like the Cassidy adaption, but I think that, yeah, desperate times we bring out the Bastion and you just empty your entire clip into him. I think that has to happen here, Juggle.
Yeah, because, you know, even if you charge up that overpowered punch, right, just the sheer amount of raw damage that's going to go into the Doomfist is going to be tremendous. We see them poke a little bit. It's actually going to be Console Noob charging in, potentially to stop a punch from Andog. Pepto lands a nice headshot onto FaZe, who, by the way, has come in on this map. So an early advantage here, and Sapphire is actually doing a great job of just sustaining. That's going to be Andog down too, so yeah, Southern New Hampshire, maybe they have found the solution here.
Yeah, I mean, this Brawl comp does play against the Poke comp, especially on an attack situation. It's a lot harder to, you know, each of these comps has their own strengths on attack and defense. There's no, like, rock, paper, scissors here, but this Brawl comp does work very well when it attacks. It looks like there may be just a little bit of pressure kind of floating this out, but I do think that the Brawl comp just has a little bit of the advantage going into this. BSO does have their window. I mean, Fire Strikes through it is going to be a lot of damage. The hard part is that you have to find someone to isolate, so waiting for that dive is going to be so important for Southern New Hampshire.
Big pick on to Pepto to start things out, though. Dragon Strike will isolate Console Noob as well, and Dog able to pick them off eventually, and that'll be a quick fight reset here from Southern New Hampshire.
Yeah, the Southern New Hampshire just kind of got caught off guard. They didn't really have a target they could run onto, and that was kind of the struggle of it. Chu also back on the Hanzo. I mean, we've not seen Chu put a bad performance on the Hanzo, so this is a problem in itself in addition to the 3 ults. I'm watching for Southern New Hampshire's Blizzard here. They need to catch somebody out. That's their only tool to make the progress forward here.
Have just now gotten it. Pepto actually goes down very low, forced to back out, though, as well as Andog. Very little health, but the May freeze is coming in from Pepto. Andog will go down. In the meantime, Chu finds one. It's a strike from Osiren, but they will not be able to stay safe from Chu, who is, again, just throwing up insane numbers.
Yeah. FaZe now moving over to Sojourn. Already has rails also. Just the damage that they've been putting out from UCal Red is huge. The problem with this Blizzard now, though, is who do you catch out? Everybody's incredibly mobile. It's really hard to find value with this Blizzard, so Southern New Hampshire just needs to find some place to put it and hope for the best.
Nanoboot's going to be delivered to Andog, too. Here comes another Dragon Strike. That one's going to go straight through 2 players. The Blizzard is there, but it will not matter in the end, and time is slowly ticking away here for Southern New Hampshire.
That was a great read out of Chu and the rest of UCal Red there, because they realized Andog was isolated. Let's just take the space back, and Dragon Strike's great for that. So winning that up with minimal fights, with minimal ults is really huge. UCal Red is running out of resources, though. Rails and Valkyrie isn't necessarily enough to win this fight on their own. It can be, as long as nobody gets caught out from you, SNHU Sapphire. Sapphire, you just need to find a shatter target. Just find the damage.
Oh, and there is a big target. Osiren able to take out Andog, who dives a little too deep. Pepto there with the Maywall to keep them at bay. So Southern New Hampshire will gain a little bit of card progress here.
That's the best you could do is kind of give up that space and it'll be back. He'll be back quick. You still don't really have much of a win condition change, so just playing it around it. And Southern New Hampshire needs to catch someone out here.
Maywall gonna be a whiff this time. That would be an excellent place for it. So heads up to Pepto for it. That play just doesn't quite wait long enough to put it up. They do, however, find a FaZe who had that big win condition for UCal Red. The Valk has been popped, so the res is in. Andog able to use the Meteor Strike to stay in the fight a little bit longer. He's gonna push away to Console Noob so they can't help Pepto, who falls right afterwards.
I'm not sure what Console Noob is looking for in this Shatter. Like, the value of simply just getting Andog on the ground and following that kill up is going to be huge here. They should be able to get it as long as they capitalize and just don't feel greedy. They have Sound Barrier to sustain. They'll have Blizzard too in the early fight. The tools should be there for Southern New Hampshire to continue this and keep this alive, and they have to use them. Just use them smart.
Console Noob trying to push the high ground, but taking so much damage on their way there that instead they've opted to kind of just give it up and go for the low ground. But because of that indecision, I think just too much damage comes in over time and they're not able to sustain.
Yeah, I'm not sure what he's looking for in the Shatter. Andog has been diving. Andog continues to go deep, and they occasionally punish him, but I think it's just the second he lands, just throw that Shatter down. He's not going to stabilize that. That's your opening pick. That is, I think, your most crucial thing you can do here to set up the rest of your ultimates for success, and it has to come now. It's last fight territory, Juggle. Like, this needs to be big. Oh, no.
Speaking of big, here is a Dragon Strike. It will bait out the Immortality Field. Sound Barrier comes out as well, which I think was maybe a little bit early, as they're not going to be able to really take advantage of it as it moves forward. And now here comes the nano-boosted Overclock, but a Shatter will lay down Andog. Is it going to be enough, though? Siren finds two with their Dragon Strike. So now UCal Red on the back foot.
They spent everything to do there, and they had to because it's use it or go home, so... they're still getting pushed back, though, Juggle. They won that fight, and they still really can't keep this forward progress. Meanwhile, Andog and Reginald just continue to... They have their ults. Chu continues to hit headshots on Tracers. That was Southern New Hampshire's best chance, so now they have to win this in the neutral. They are going to need some big play, and it does not start that way.
No, it does not. And because UCal Red smells blood in the water, they go for more. Andog finds a third. Chu is firing on all cylinders. Tracer gonna try to get the point, but not even able to do that. UCal takes the second game.
Again, on Southern New Hampshire's pick, which against arguably their best comp. They wanted to come here to play Brawl. They wanted to try to play something that gave them advantage, and it didn't turn out to be the advantage they were looking for. FaZe, for that brief period of time on the Tracer, put in a lot of work. Again, it's really hard not to talk about UCal Red and their flexibility across all these various heroes, right? It's the same essential comp that they're playing. They're playing a kind of a poke dive combination where they'll play at a distance, and then eventually Andog will go in, help complete kills, or set up for the rest of the team to follow up and make the pick. But they play it in so many different ways that you might be confused. You might see the May and the Doomfist, but you're not confused when the Icicle hits your head because you now understand what's going on.
I think, honestly, that's kind of the beauty of some of these teams that run a composition just kind of revolving around one hero or even player. That, of course, being Andog here, right? I forget the name of the team, but there was a team back in Overwatch 1 that came out, I think it was like Roadhog, May, Lucio.
Clockwork Vendetta, yeah. Clockwork Vendetta.
Yeah, I'm feeling Clockwork Vendetta vibes here, honestly, with UCal Red. I think it's a very similar thing to where this team is just so dialed in to this composition and to this Doomfist frontline that they've got an answer for every situation, right? There's kind of two ways to adapt in Overwatch to a team that's defeating you, right? You adapt stylistically, or you change comps, or you do both, right? And right now, University of Cincinnati, Red, all they got to do is just change how they play, and that again, I think is the beauty of some of these teams that really revolve around just a couple of heroes.
Yeah, Southern New Hampshire has had great reads, not to cut
Yeah.
them out of here. Also, an undefeated team didn't make it that far without making those adaptions and making those reads. This is just such an unusual read that it's really hard to kind of take map 1 and even map 2 here, where you're looking at this and going, how is this Doomfist getting value? How is he playing so aggressively and not getting punished? And kind of work your own mental, kind of wear yourself down over that, because after a while, when you just see the Doomfist go in solo, find a pick, and get out without getting picked, it is going to cause a little bit of a rift amongst yourself and your team. So really, this upcoming break is going to be nothing but good for Southern New Hampshire, I think.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And let's get right to that. Let's give them a break. We'll give ourselves a break for a moment here. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back soon with map number 3. Two champions of the Champions Division here today in UCal Red and Southern New Hampshire University. Currently, UCal Red up 2-0 after just some phenomenal gameplay coming out from the whole team, but most notably Andog and Chu.
Yeah, I mean, between those two players, this team has definitely put an exclamation point as to why they are the #1 seed and undefeated. But there's the wild card coming in, Juggle, that we maybe some of us older boomer Overwatch players might remember. Coming in for Southern New Hampshire is Kresnik.
Yeah.
Last seen playing for Selfless Gaming. So they are going to be coming in for the side of Osiren, which means they're going to be picking up some sort of a DPS. My guess is a long-range hit scan. Considering we are going to Circuit Royale, I mean, it's a Hail Mary play, and look, it's time to relive that former glory. I don't see why not. This is the moment, I think, Jogel, if you're going to do it.
I think it is, too, right? You got to throw everything you've got at this to try and keep that spotless record, right? Southern New Hampshire University currently at 7-0, but may not be ending that way tonight. One of these teams will have a blemish on that record, so we're gonna have to see. Maybe the reverse sweep starts here for Southern New Hampshire, and maybe it will be UCal Red just continuing to do what they've done so far today. But yeah, I think bringing Kresnik in is a great idea, right? They need to swap something up. They need to make some kind of a change, and bringing in someone with such a history in Overwatch, I think, is a good idea, too. They were, I believe, we were talking right before break, they were a tank player, but coming in here on the DPS, I mean, they're certainly still going to be a great player, I think. So I'm excited to see what they do here.
Yeah, this is a lot of questions that we'll eventually have the answers to, but I think it really does put a lot of question marks that maybe nobody really knows. Has Kresnik played a lot? We don't necessarily have that answer from the past. So if this is a kind of a real wild card situation, maybe they're going to come in with a Widow or a long range hit scan. Maybe they'll come in with like the Junkrat one trick that they've been hiding back here. Whatever it is, they've locked it already. So very curious to see what that is. They picked the Cassidy, so I guess just maybe changing the style of the Cassidy player here or the hit scan player. Sometimes you need to do that, and we will see Southern New Hampshire kind of zone into what is the solved kind of meta for Circuit Royale. Looks fine to me. Usually you expect a little bit more long range hit scan, but they're valuing the closer protection for console noob, and I don't hate that. On the other side, I wouldn't even be mad if Andog rolled out on this ball. I literally actually wouldn't even be mad. I don't want to spend too much time on it because it's not impossible, but I wouldn't be mad. Like, how his performance has been on Doom. Like, Doom and Ball have very relatable skill sets that I could see this happening, and this poke comp gets way more dangerous with that knowledge in your mind that Andog could play Doomfist at that level. Imagine the level he may play Ball at.
Right, this is going to be very entertaining to watch, I think, on multiple fronts, right? Getting to see Kresnik on the Cassidy, getting to see Andog now on the Ball, who has just dove into that backline. Doesn't find a whole lot there, though. He's going to just kind of poke and prod at Console Noob for the moment. Goes in for kind of a greedy slam there. Actually doesn't get a whole lot of adaptive shields either. He's going to be taken out, so stayed a little too long, right? And I think that kind of highlights one of the stylistic differences between how you want to play Ball versus Doomfist, right? Ball is set up, scout, set up, strike, right? Whereas Doomfist, you just kind of go in and stay in.
Yeah, it's very different. They'll give that up, though, and match the Sigma here. Interesting. I'm actually more impressed that Andog just didn't go back to Doomfist with that phenomenal game you're playing. I think you could probably force this, but it is the right call. Now you have your long-range hit scans, you have a Discord Orb, and you have Chu, who just continues to fire down free.
Yeah, that was Chu just made it look so casual right there, right? It was almost, as he was firing those shots, he's like, cool, I'm going to hit both these, right? Like there wasn't even a question about it. Kresnik, in the meantime, has found a pick, though. So this hold, at least at the moment, working out pretty well for Southern New Hampshire.
Yeah, I do like the adaptions they made. They're playing a little bit more aggressive to this backline, and it's working in their favor for the hold.
Ooh. Yeah, Chu just barely dodges that pulse bomb right there. And now Andog, actually having swapped, has still beat Console Noob to the Gravitic Flux. It's going to come in right now, but taken out very quickly by Console Noob. So Yeah, Southern New Hampshire is doing phenomenal here, but Chu's going to keep going. Chu says, I'm not done yet. This is Zenyatta with my name on it.
Wow.
And he does find them, but Console Noob gets the cleanup in the end.
Yeah, it eventually will be the hold here. The last pieces are there. I mean, yeah, Andog's back on the Doomfist. Okay, that checks out. I think that was something they might have just been testing at this point, because Andog just decides, look, I'm not going to play around anymore. Chu is now suddenly a target for a lot of these players. So Andog just decides, I'm just going to wear this burden, put the backpack on, and just decide to really just keep the pressure back onto SNHU. So Hookshot comes in, doesn't find anything. I mean, Chu has Dragon Strike. They have Trance Up. I mean, the resources they have now for UConn Red should just keep this rolling.
Yeah, the Deadeye might briefly zone someone, but I don't think it's going to be super significant. Console Noob actually finds a way to get a pick onto FaZe. Chu does bite off a little bit more than Chu and is kind of caught out. So this is going to be a nice hold here, at least for the moment, for Southern New Hampshire. And Andog actually just playing musical tanks right now is on the Ramatra.
Yeah, I guess he's searching for an answer to something. Maybe he just feels the pressure is on from now the hit scan of and the players from SNHU. So really just kind of searching for the answer. Does already have a good chunk of the way. And FaZe just falling a little bit short on that jump shot has just been kind of a target that has been easily capitalized on.
Chu looking for something at the moment. It's going to be a nice pulse bomb stick, though. Andog goes down once again, and, you know, UCal Red is making progress, but it's in fits and starts.
Yeah, it's very small amounts. Just with how SNHU is playing so passively and defensively, I like it. It's a very, very good style change, and Constant looks very, very strong on the Sigma, so that in mind, they have their Trance Up to match in addition to Flux. It's just going to have to kind of be these smatterings of ultimates and making sure they use them last, because there is a little bit more sustain for UCal Red, so really just pacing these ultimates out and getting value would be smart.
I don't think this Dragon Strike is on anybody's radar, but one Trick is able to respond with the Transcendence. Amp Matrix used as well from SNHU to kind of stall things out here. Once again, that gives enough time for Gravitic Flux to come up too. A lot of damage done, but it's not going to be anything that UCal Red can't handle, and now Andog is on the offensive, pummeling away at the competition, at the back line no less. So, one player advantage here is going to turn 2-2, and UCal Red will continue to move forward.
The smart decision from UCal Red to save the Transcendence for the quite literal incoming High Noon with the raise plus High Noon was a great call. You just got twice the value out of it. So you did have the sustain. Now your sustain is gone. It's just Andog with the lone ultimate. And I mean, as long as Andog just gets the space and continues to get value with that dome, it should be good.
And Chu continuing to dome as well, finds Pepto, who's just had a tremendously hard time staying alive, but the sustain almost not there. Andog comes up with the annihilation as well. Console Noob stands their ground for just as long as they can, but it will not be long enough. In the meantime, Biso actually finds a couple of big picks, and Pepto does have a pulse bomb ready to go. If they can land a stick here, they could turn this around. Chu continuing to find advantage. Andog eventually lands a pummel, and that will be second point.
It just kind of is the way the ultimate bank fell. Andog had that first and just kind of used their ultimate a little bit more aggressively now that they've built those up. Though they have both DPS ultimates up plus a little bit more sustain. They just need to beat out one Trick's Trance to keep this trainer rolling, Juggle.
Ooh, but
Chu going down.
Yeah, Console Noob does find a Chu, so this should be a quick reset here from UCal Red. But I'm not sure they're going to do that. This is a pretty aggressive team. They're going to come in with the Gravitic Flux. They do actually get the res off, but that's just going to be more the fuel for the fire that is now Console Noob.
I mean, great reads. UCal Red just holding on to ultimates now. I think it was the right play. The only thing I'm concerned about now for SNU Sapphire, they gave up Trance to win that fight, which you are really going to kind of want in this upcoming one. There's 3 ultimates, 4, both defensive ultimates for UCal Red in the support line. This pulse bomb has to get big, and it has to catch the Zen.
It is going to be a whiff this time, just finds the stairs. Valk online as well. Not going to be enough to keep FaZe alive, considering they did just use the res on Chu. Oh no, they did actually get it back in time. Chu just did a flurry of picks. Finds their way into the back line, and nobody is aware.
The Valkyrie assist was pretty good too. Meanwhile, speaking of that, there is a Kensik is in the back line, just really, really deep. I guess setting up for a big high noon, try to catch them way off guard, but don't know if that's going to be there. Again, 3 ultimates up for UCal Red. They have the longevity to win this. I mean, plus Chu is there.
Ooh. Yeah,
FaZe, though.
FaZe actually finds the 2. Most notably, one trick. Biso falls as well. This cart is just about to find the end. FaZe holding onto the Deadeye and the high ground as well to zone anybody out who may try and come and contest here at the last second. We're going to see it here as, yeah, one trick does find their way to the cart. Now Console Noob taking a page out of Andog's book is on the Doomfist, but the Annihilation really is all you need at this point. Still holding on to it. They are eventually going to use it. That should zone everybody away from the point. Tracer going to try and hold on as long as they can, but it won't be terribly long. FaZe finds Pepto in the meantime, but still Kresnik actually dancing around the point for a moment. Doomfist is back in to contest. They almost push this into overtime. 3.5 seconds, though, left on the clock.
Yeah, they were really hoping to get the overtime push. It would have given them at least a chance to stay a little bit longer and maybe steal a win down the line. But a very admirable hold out of Southern New Hampshire, all things considered. It wasn't what we saw out of Midtown, where UCal Red was constantly just finding first picks, winning fights, and chaining fight wins together. Southern New Hampshire was actually able to put their foot down in a lot of these cases and able to get good reads on what UCal Red was doing. It's really fascinating because UCal Red, when they're playing everybody else's game of Overwatch, they look like a beatable team. They look like they're exploitable for the most part. So Southern New Hampshire does have something in their minds when they picked this, and it's looking good for them. The thing that I'm not... Sorry, I got very distracted by Chu on the Junkrat because I was just about to talk about how really fantastic their Hanzos looked all series, and then they did this. So
I'm confused by this Junkrat pick too.
I guess my guess is that they're really trying to play a little bit closer to Andog and offer support while also kind of bearing and winning the tank fight in a lot of ways. I don't know that we needed that, but I guess if you're going to... Look, there's a reason Chu has been just hitting headshots and playing this well. He knows something we don't, so we'll have to see the magic there when the attack comes. Meanwhile, for Sapphire, they're going to opt into a little bit more of what we expected to see out of this like medium to long range hit scan. So that's about what I expected. I'm really watching these Discord orbs from one trick because they are going to have to make the difference given the burst damage that comes from Yukao's red side. I mean, the one-shot potential is just there from both of those DPS.
And that one-shot potential definitely could be game changer here, right? So I think that's going to be one of the most important duels to kind of watch, is kind of between FaZe and Pepto. In the meantime, both Sigmas going to meet their demise. Remains to be seen who that's going to bother more. Chu actually now on the Junkrat maybe looking a little bit better because in the absence of Andog, you can almost provide a little bit of zoning, you know, just with a lot of the spam coming in and with even with your trap too.
Yeah. I mean, catching somebody out is huge. FaZe hits that headshot, though, and that's going to seal the deal on that push now. Like you said, though, Southern New Hampshire, wow, just really is playing a little bit of a closer game, and the Junkrat really does take that space back from them, even without the Sigma. So a very smart pick that, again, we've seen UCal Red make these unique shots, and they make it work, but FaZe is coming to life.
Yeah, FaZe is just picking apart the competition right now. So, minute and a half already off the clock here. Of course, it was a slow start for UCal Red on attack as well, so anything could still happen here.
Yeah, I mean, Sapphire probably should have given up that fight a little while ago. A couple of picks that they just felt they could turn because we're playing poke comps right now. But, I mean, with how FaZe has been hitting those headshots, oh, man, that was dirty. Oh, wow. Yeah, if that just keeps happening, you have to just rush this down somehow.
Yeah, that's fair. And I mean, rush, that's what Sapphire would like to do, I think, more times than not. Pepto lands a nice rail, though. This is going to be answered back quickly, though, as Kresnik goes down. So, 1-for-1 trade. And Andog in Reginald will make up the difference to continue this hold. Another 30 seconds. Actually, 45 off the clock.
Yeah, I mean, UCal Red has just been holding fight wins together. Now they have Nano, they'll have Trance, they have this Tire too, the attack power here. They just have the multitude of tools to win this. There's only the Nano against them. I mean, a quick pick it makes this over.
Yeah, and that's what just happened, right? Reginald able to take out Biso. That Nano boost was going to be a big part of your win condition here.
Yeah, probably your only real win condition. Constantly will find one back, so maybe this is the moment they're waiting, because that's a large chunk of damage down.
And if you Nano boost Pepto here, but FaZe hits a shot onto Kresnik as they try and flank, or at least rather take kind of that high ground position. Pepto punishes FaZe this time for the jump shot. Aaron able to get it out before, before the rail lands. And Dog is back though, so they're holding on as tight as they can. Here comes a Gravitic Flux to try and counter this. Rail that has come out. Big Trance, though. That's going to neutralize both the Gravitic Flux and the Riptire. That was a little bit of an overcommit there, or poor timing on the part of UCal Red. But now both Transcendences are down, both are out, and Console Noob has fallen. So with 30 seconds left to go, SNHU has to back up.
It was a great read to send in the Tire, actually, because it could have bursted down through Transcendence. The problem is that, oh man, she was looking very strong on this Junkrat. Just great play, heads-up play from Kresnik to cancel that. So, I mean, you've worn through all of the resources and the ultimates for UCal Red. I mean, SNU Sapphire, they don't have anything. This has to win in the neutral. It's their last chance.
Kresnik does find a pulse onto Nacho. That is big, as Reginald's going to be the only source of the heals here. So the sustain is going to be in favor of SNHU, but Console Noob goes down. Overtime is here, and UCal Red has the kills to lock this down, lock it away, and give themselves a 3-0 win over the number 2 seed here in the Atlantic Champions Division.
That is a statement made there, Joe, because that is the top 2 teams, and your number 1 seed just absolutely brought it to the number 2. This really does set UCal Red apart from the rest of those in the division. I mean, it makes sense, right? It's now an 8-0 team. Look at how many unique heroes and unique comps they brought into these maps alone. That's not anything you can prepare for. Your scrim block did not prepare you for this. No. Unless you actually sat here and watched the tape and scrimmed against UCal, it's so hard to say you should have been able to win this and beat this coming, because this is just so many things, and not taking away anything from any players, but this was just so many things that you may not have been ready for. And then tack on the fact that all of the players on UCal Red have been absolutely phenomenal, from the tank line to the DPS, and we haven't even talked about the supports, which means they've been playing incredible as well.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's yeah, honestly, I think it's a shame that we didn't find a chance to highlight them this game, but they were there, and I mean, like the fact that they were able to keep, honestly, Andog up in these just insane dives incredible that they went on, it definitely need to highlight that, and the fact that the support line was there through the thick and thin and helped contribute to this win. And as well, one final point that I want to make, right? I want to harken back to what we were talking about earlier with kind of, the similarities, at least that I was feeling between them and Clockwork Vendetta.
Yes.
Well, they flexed. They showed us other looks. Andog showed today that he is not a one-trick. Yes, he is a Doomfist main, but there is a world of difference between being a one-trick and a main.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of flexibility across that roster, and that's a little bit terrifying to me. Even in as deep picks as the May, the Junkrat, things that you would only see in oddly particular one-off moments, and playing them to a great proficiency level and finding value with them says a lot for them. Southern New Hampshire, I mean, if that's your first loss, I don't know that you can be that mad about it in a lot of ways, right? Like, you're still the number 2 seed. You're still going on to playoffs in a pretty high spot. But that sets quite a bar that you now have to look and sit back and say, look, that was a tough matchup for us. We need to figure out what we can do better. And given the team that we saw from both the starters and the bench players coming in, they all played incredibly well as well. You could see how they earned their number 2 spot. It's just now coming up against those kinds of moments where you didn't expect this. So now you have to sit down and put the bookwork in to really understand what you're playing against.
Well, that's going to do for this first game. Again, congratulations to UCal Red, SNHU, wonderful showing as well. But we're going to be handing off the reins to the next pair of casters for the final game here on the B stream tonight. Before we throw it to a break, I just want to give a quick thank you once again to our production crew, to everybody tuning in here and at NECC. Before, one more thing though, any final words from you, Soav?
I got nothing this time. Just great Overwatch. See you for more.
Welcome. It is apparently Dog Day here at NECC. My name is Jeff. I'm here with Bo in my lap and Billy to my left. We apparently have twin dogsies, as we've been told. Uh-oh. Bo's out. That's enough camera time. Bo got camera shy. There you go.
Toby. Yeah, this is Toby.
Yeah. Special guests.
He's a lover, not a fighter.
Special guests here for NECC Overwatch as we are headed into week number 8. Yeah, we had to, give the dog some love, give the dog some screen time. It was National Puppy Day not too long ago, so, we were compelled. Anyway, moving on. What do we got today? We got a game out of the Challengers Pacific Frontier Division.
Yeah, 2 states apart. UNO Black, University of Nebraska, Omaha. Coming in on 3-3 here into week number 8. Last week they had a win over UBCO Serpents. In week number 7, so they are waiting for another result to come in, or actually to play another game versus WCU Crimson. They rescheduled that from week 6, hasn't played it yet. They're going up against the Southwest Oklahoma State University squad that's coming in 4-3 on the season. They have all their games in, and they also come in having won last week as well. So we'll see how these two teams match up here today. The two of the losses here for UNO came from forfeits. So, if they had shown up, or if they had been able to play that day, I guess is a better way to put it, they might be sitting on 5-1. But as it stands, they are 3-3. So this could actually be a lot closer than what the two schedules tell us.
I mean, they're pretty darn close in the standings as it is. As Southwest Oklahoma State is sitting in 4th place currently. They're at the 4-3 record +2 map differential. You only have to move 2 spots down as you get the bull there. The logo of the Mavericks in UNO Black currently sitting at 3-3 with a dead even 10-10 map differential, putting it at 0. But as you can see here, we've got 3 teams that are currently sitting 3-3. UBCO Serpents, the one team sitting at 3-4. So I mean, a win or a loss here, either way, could really shift these standings. There's a lot of teams. I mean, looking at basically 3 through 8 are all sitting in this within 1 game of each other bracket.
I mean, we also have some games out there that have not been reported. It looks like there has been 2 from the Horizon squad that have not been reported. Also 1 from Sac State Gold. Now, the Sac State Gold squad is pretty darn lethal. I can tell you that right now, having seen them a couple weeks ago. But, you're right. I mean, 3 through 8, there's a lot of room for movement here. And I think, that's the one thing that I've noticed this season of NECC, Jeff, is that we've got a lot of parity, regardless of the division, other than basically the Legends division where there is a solid top 3. All the other divisions that we are seeing play in, teams that were maybe on the lower end for the fall split have really come around here in the spring split and have made these divisions across the country very competitive, Jeff. So I'm looking at, how are we going to deal with this? And I love it. I love it. This is what we're all about here.
And you're talking about how strong Sac State is. Their 1 loss was to UNO Black. That was way back in week number 1. So I mean, it really goes to show you that we don't know just how strong this UNO squad is because of the 2 games that unfortunately they were not able to make. So, I mean, this could be very telling, and this could be a step up for them through this, very competitive division like every other division we have here at NECC. We could see UNO shoot up through the rankings very quickly after today.
You've got to give it to the admins, placing all these teams, and making these divisions really competitive, really having a ton of really good and close divisions. So, you know what? Without further ado, let's take a look at the combatants today for our matchup. We will start up with UNO, University of Nebraska, Omaha. M. Trekker, computer science major, is a freshman. We got Cobra here, cybersecurity freshman. Ashry Bourne, psychology major and a junior. Ram Rancher, construction management minor. And real estate and land use economics. So I'm sorry, their major is construction management and their minor is real estate and land use economics. And then Shinji, rounding out the list on environmental sciences, and they are a junior. So two relatively new people to the collegiate scene in M-Trekker and Cobra. Then you've got 3 upperclassmen being able to be led around and show the new people, the new folks. And, Jeff, if you can take us through SWASU, as I was calling him, Southwestern Oklahoma State University.
Yeah, I'm gonna spare just reading everything down the list, but I mean, we got a wide assortment of ages from freshman to grad student here. Everybody is kind of represented, everything but a junior, as a matter of fact. So, yeah, this is a good mix of fresh young blood and good experience and leadership, and well, it's we'll see how it plays out on the battlefield today. Kind of interesting. Several of these players listed as flex. So Virus is listed as a flex player. Riz is listed as a flex player. And just given by what I'm seeing here, Sundara and Max are a support and a DPS, respectively. It's tough to tell who's going to play what for this squad. They don't seem to have as defined roles as we see over on the Nebraska side.
I mean, that happens a lot during collegiate Overwatch. I mean, you know this. So a lot of teams will flex around what they need, and also basically around availability of their teammates. So I'm you and I are both probably partial to the vocal music education major because we were both heavily into music. And we'll go ahead and head into our first map. It is Lijiang Gardens or Lijiang Tower, and we're going to start out here. Looks like on Gardens, I think. As we take the panoramic view here. Great seats thanks to our observers. Once again, Petey on the observing for us, and we've got Blake giving us the 1s and 2s in all of our directions here on the backside. So thank you to both of them, making us look good and sound good. And yeah, we are going to start on Gardens here. And, well, we've got a double Reinhardt look coming out. And surprisingly, we're going to be using the Symmetra to get ourselves out of spawn.
5, 4.
Yeah, teams might stick with this.
1.
Well, we'll see. If they just use it right out of the shuttle, then you can expect a swap, likely to a tracer or something. But no, both of our teams are sticking with the Symmetra. So we'll get window teleporters from both sides, and very quick fights breaking out on this point. Riz falls immediately. Not a chance to even get a moment of that beam out there. Still sitting on passive ult charge. Virus joins Riz back in that red spot. And, well, it's UNO with a very quick and clean first fight. I say that, Cobra just fall at the very end.
Well, I mean, there's time for them to get back into this, and Riz, going over to the May. And look at that, Ram Rancher is also going to echo the May. So we're going to have a Cassidy versus the Symmetra with the answering May. So walls are going to be important here. We see the same mirrored support lines. Big difference right now, Max with the R is going to be burning down the shield of Cobra. Cobra's got to be very cognizant of their shield management, Jeff, as they push the white room.
Just steamrolling in the old trick room strategy we saw in the program, at least popularized by Pummy and that group. Cobra with an Earth Shatter ready to go here, working across, Shatter lands, and it's gorgeous. It just levels everybody as Cobra runs in and annihilates 4 people.
Okay, somebody clip that one because that was gorgeous. That was ballsy, if that can be an adjective here for what that was, because they just decided, you know what, I don't care about you, Virus. I don't care about your stupid shield. I'm just going to walk past it and shatter everybody behind you. We're going to clean you up on the back end of it, and that's exactly what happens. And Shinji now has this photon barrier available with the blizzard not too far behind Jeff.
Wall won't last long against that Bastion in Sentry 4. Teleporter up from Shinji to get into the back. Well, I'm not sure what the intention was, but the teleporter immediately got destroyed. Reinhardt nanoed up, but is anti good wall. Bastion made it on this side of it. Both of them are in trouble. Both are now down. As Ram Rancher with just the perfect wall. That's exactly how you wish every May wall would go, right there.
I mean, we never get anything like that in our games, do we, Jeff? We get walled coming out of spawn. And then we're like, oh, why are you doing this? And they go, LOL, get good. But Big important thing here for UNO Black is that they only invested the photon barrier into that fight, so they've got all of these things above them and the big shatter again from Cobra.
Yeah, and we saw Suzu come out, but it's still not enough as Cobra's able to get a pair. And it's just a Blizzard on point, celebratory here out of Ram Rancher, and this will be a 100-0 nano boost on the Cobra, as this is a clean round of gardens going over to UNO Black.
The ultimate economy, I think, is what was most impressive there for me, Jeff, is the fact that they only invested one ultimate into a lot of these fights, and they were able to clean up on the back of just that singular ultimate. So as we head now to Night Market, I mean, I'm going to give the advantage right now to UNO Black because Shinji really putting up a strong performance on that Symmetra. And we're going to see Virus swapping back over to the Reinhardt. So, I mean, Riz should be able to purchase some space on the point. Just depends on who gets the better value. Is it going to be Ram Rancher with the wall and the ice block? Or is it going to be Max with the R and the Bastion with the turret form, being able to burst down the shielding and the resources of UNO Black?
Ram Rancher, I think, did exceptionally well alongside Shinji there in that previous map. And it's that same combo we're seeing early, and Cobra's getting aggressive. Great wall. Virus is just standing there desperately shielding, praying for any kind of help, but there is none to be found. As UNO Black with another strong start, staying flawless on Lijiang Tower thus far.
I mean, Cobra does go down, but then, we're going to have the advanced mobility now of the Reinhardt being able to get back to the point a lot faster. The problem is that Virus is actually going to get there first. So unless there is a teleporter or something to stop the push in, well, we see it. Apparently, M-Trekker went back and got their Reinhardt. It was beat the rest of Swasu's back. So this is actually a great part for them to get in here.
Gotta love it. 5 stars to M-Trekker. Rubber with some early damage, and Southwest Oklahoma are getting aggressive here. Good immortality field, and somehow Cobra's still alive. The photon barrier is up from Shinji, and UNO managed to survive all of that shout out. Brilliant play by the supports of M-Trekker and Ash Reborn.
I mean, Ash Reborn throws the immortality barrier inside the dojo here, inside the little parlor, and really keeps Cobra up on their feet, and then the spam healing coming through. M-Trekker amps the heals, and you see the regenerative burst, and then the healing grenades coming through from Ash Reborn. That's the only reason why Cobra survives that, and now they're gonna have a shatter, and it's huge!
The boot back on Virus knocks them off their trajectory. Cobra's able to respond. What an answer coming out of UNO Black. The split-second response there to the teleport shatter.
Ugh. I mean, I'm impressed. Color me impressed. They even had a photon barrier to protect Virus. It don't matter. M-Trekker was all eyes to it and had a wonderful time going into that. So, I mean, Shatter will be available first, probably to Cobra here, based upon how the rotations are going. And we're going to see what kind of work this artillery strike can get done.
Sound barrier is going to prevent too much damage from coming out. Raymond throws an aggressive Blizzard out into the courtyard. Virus makes it pass and takes out M-Trekker, but the rest of the team's still back there. Thawing out, Riz is able to get a kill onto Shinji. But Ram Rancher is still just launching icicles. Just incredible accuracy. Gets a pair already. Overtime wake means Southwest Oklahoma State have no choice but to yeet themselves onto the objective in hopes that somebody could finally end Ram Rancher's just absolute assault. But there is no end to it. Ram Rancher will not be stopped. Neither will UNO Black.
MTD. I mean, that's what I would be screaming in my comms. Cobra really putting on a serious clinic here. And, well, they're going to get the POTG here for it. I mean, this is it. This is the one where they get everything on the end of it and avoid the shatter into boot and just got so much value. Big shout out to the photon barrier there from Shinji. Also cleaning up on the back of it, Jeff. That was pretty comprehensive coming out of UNO.
Oh yeah, that was very comprehensive indeed. And then M-Trekker with the greatest use of that alt fire, that boop, just completely saved the whole team and gave everybody a chance to get out of the way, completely throwing Virus off of their trajectory. That was What a play. What an absolutely just disgusting, amazing play. And a super clean 2 100-0s for UNO Black.
Well, back to the drawing board now, and hybrid's going to be our next map type here for the two combatants here. You know what? UNO had a fun time there on Lijiang Tower, and, well, now they're going to have to figure out what to do. So, yes, I agree, Petey. That was indeed that. UNO have banned Paraíso as our hybrid map, so I'm going to assume that we will go to Kings Row, but you know what? Midtown might be a better option here, just based upon not wanting to go into the Cobra Reinhardt.
I mean, Southwest Oklahoma State University didn't have any problems playing the Reinhardt in their own right. I mean, like they elected into that as well, so still wouldn't be too surprised to see Kings. Just depends on what they have planned for us. Who knows? We are, as we have been all season, still in this best of 5. So winner gets to ban out a map. And then loser gets to choose the map. Hence how Paraíso is off the table and will not be played, as University of Nebraska Omaha completely eliminated that. They said, nope, we are not headed to Paraíso. We do not like that map. Do not want to play that map. Do not want to see it today. Get it out of here.
I mean, Paraíso is a difficult map. If you're not used to scrimming on it, if you're not used to practicing on it, I mean, it requires a whole different set of skills to be able to really master that map. And I think that you've got to have a really good mid to long range hit scan, as well as having up close and personal damage. So we'll see where we're going to go here. Our in-game observer, Petey, is getting the information for us as we speak. And we'll see what we get coming out of this. So how we do.
We will indeed. We will indeed see where they decide to go. And our Week 8 matchup, I mean, UNO, we were talking about, like, there's no telling which way this series was going to go. These two teams super close in the standings. But, I mean, UNO looked absolutely dominant. This did not look like two teams that were very close in the standings. This looked like there was quite a gap between the two squads on Lijiang Tower. So I'm anxious to see what Southwest does coming back into this. Southwest, from what we can tell from their record thus far, typically pretty good at control. So them dropping those two sub-maps, both 0 to 100, I found that pretty surprising, honestly.
Yep, same. Well, Southwest Oklahoma State going to bring in some subs. Orbital's going to come in for Riz. Orbital's going to go to Tank, and Virus is going to go to DPS. And then Southwest Oklahoma have picked Blizzard World as our next map, and UNO are going to be on the defense.
Okay. Well, thank you for the rundown there. Yeah, Orbital actually listed as the tank for this squad. So we'll see. And then as you did kind of touch on there at the end, as far as we did have the map pick come through. So I'm curious if the sub of Orbital coming in has anything to do with the hero pool and where we're headed next as far as going to Blizzard World. Is this something that just fits into Orbital's hero selection a little bit better?
Well, we'll see how this is actually going to play out for them. We want to see, Orbital come in here and kind of take charge, and maybe Virus was having to play, a role that they're not used to. Even though they did have some moments where they were actually really good on the Reinhardt, maybe they'll go, more to their natural role. So as we head into Blizzard World, the amusement park with no people in it. You and I had this conversation a couple days ago. It's an amusement park with nobody in it. Now, did somebody alert the media or alert the park that there's going to be a massive fight here between some heroes, or did everybody just run once they saw the giant monkey, especially?
Well, and I think I noted last time, like, it made sense that the park was empty on the rainy side of things, but it looks particularly strange, like when it's super bright out and sunny and this gorgeous day, and there's balloons and confetti, freshly blown up balloons. Somebody took the time to inflate all these balloons, and there's nobody here. You know who is here? Is UNO Black. Actually, yeah, UNO Black on the defense. Starting things off. Cobra coming in with the Sigma, looking at a bit of a poke range kind of composition here. Interesting mix, as a matter of fact.
Well, it just depends on where they set up, because you get the what I call the shooting blind with the Ashe and the Sigma, and you're looking for early spam damage here actually from the Ram Rancher Junkrat. Yep, going to get themselves back behind this shield. So high ground's going to be at a premium here. Orbital, they really don't have many options to go in with them. Even with the Genji going in, deflect only lasts so long. And then Virus on the Echo is going to be a liability, and there they go down early.
Yeah, it's a good start. It's just a matter of how well can UNO keep this up. This high ground is so strong because you have great sight lines both into the Lost and Found and down Main Street. And you can put a lot of damage on, Winston's when they come in from range. By the time they get there, they have no health left.
This is going to be interesting how Virus decides to play around not only the experimental barrier but also the kinetic grasp of a Sigma. You would want to see a little bit more sustainable damage coming in. Now, the focusing beam is going to be what's the most important here for the Echo. If you can go in with Orbital on these dives, big anti comes through, but it doesn't do much.
That's just so much damage. UNO Black really good with their focus fire. The moment that Orbital pulls the trigger on that jump, everybody from UNO Black has their sights set. Virus is getting hit by a creation rock here, and feels like Southwestern Oklahoma State University are getting a little impatient. They don't disengage this time. They're trying to press the issue to see if they can get just anything, but UNO Black aren't budging.
Well, 90 seconds in, I would be feeling a little bit of panic also. There's still time for changes to come through. The big thing right now is that Orbital is getting 0 value on these dives going in. You need to have a Tracer, honestly, or a Soldier. More consistent damage to go in, even the teleporting Reaper to go in with you. And up against this window, I mean, poor Winston is going to be a very unhappy Winston Overwatch.
Okay. Orbital just hides, just LOS, the double damage of the amplification matrix. Now they've got a nano boost. They go up there with a little bit more fearlessness. It does drive back a few players, and finally, UNO Black are dislodged from their safety there at Griffin. Rotating back, Ram Rancher and M-Trekker both get caught out. Not a clean rotation. Good job from Swosu, as you called them earlier, from Southwest Oklahoma State University to catch that rotation. Punish, get 2. But losing Cairo, not ideal. Definitely going to be a retake, or at least an attempt at one here later.
I mean, how is Virus staying through? They don't get the gravitic flux out, but the blade is out. That's 2. That's 4 going down here. That'll be Swasu going on to the second point of Blizzard World. Really, just some uncharacteristic mistakes, I think, coming from UNO here. The fact that they weren't able to shut down the Genji coming in, they didn't have the wherewithal to be able to deal with the blade coming through. I think that has to deal with running with the Mercy, to be quite honest. The Mercy does not provide enough here on Blizzard World with what you need. Now, yeah, you do see the damage boost showing there, but I still think that more utility would be the better choice of Valor here for UNO Black. So they're going to have to make their stand with 3:05 left on the clock here, Jeff. Gravitic Flux is ready.
Yeah, and some DPS swaps from Ram Rancher and Shinji both, which, I mean, they're just adjusting to play more close quarters. They can get up here and just get right in the face of Orbital, and yeah, and it just limits their options so drastically on the Winston. And a great opening pick here, and UNO are going to stabilize. See if they can find anything else here on the way out. Why not? Especially if Southwestern Oklahoma State are going to stay this far pressed up. It's a risky move.
It's risky, but risk reward is what Overwatch 2 is all about, right? I mean, you're looking to get confirmed kills, which is something different from the sustainability that we saw coming out from Overwatch 1. There's a sleep, beautiful out of Cairo.
Yeah, Cobra should have seen that coming. That was a bit silly. That was a bit silly. Virus all the way in the back has about 5 health. Did not go for the Mega, speaking of silly. I assumed that they were running away trying to get that Mega Pack. I think Shinji was assuming the same. Finds an easy pick waiting for him on the doorstep, and you take those. And now UNO Black, all guns pointed forward.
I mean, Shinji's going to build up a very fast tac fighter, especially keep this damage boost onto them. It'll give them 1.5 times the ultimate charge, and the deflect is good just for self-preservation for Max with the arm. Once that deflect is gone, you've got a dash and you've got a double jump to get yourself out of the weeds. So the window coming up here is going to be huge coming out from M-Trekker.
Just lost him from Ram Rancher's able to get one before the sleep dart lands. Landing on Sundar. It's kind of a 2-for-1 special, taking the Resurrect off the table. And UNO Black, once again, able to push past the confines of the choke itself.
I mean, both support ultimates still ready to go. Cairo, only 6% off, so this will be either a Nano Blade or a Winston, Nano Winston going in. I think you actually want to throw it on the Winston right now to gain some kind of space, because that's the big problem. Well, they're going to go Nano Blade.
Here we go. Max Witherman's already sliced through one. Looking to be the Slicer Man. Take down the Mortality Field while Ram Rancher was fading about. A little Tri-Shuriken Burst will finish off the Reaper, as well as M-Trekker as well. That's 3 for Max Witherman here on the Genji.
Oh, beautiful work. Nano does, or the Anti does come in from Cairo, so there we go, Max down. And, well, people are responding here, but, I mean, the fact that Virus has gone over to this Tracer, already has Pulse Bomb. There's the follow-up damage that we were looking for with these guys. And so we'll see now, Orbital and company get a lot more value when they go in so aggressively, Jeff. You'll be able to follow up on the Tesla cannon damage. You'll be able to get underneath the window or the bubble from them. And the Wrecking Ball comes out here from Cobra. Another big anti comes out from Cairo.
Good work in the back. What a start here. Trying to cut off this composition right at the cornerstone. Ooh, and the pulse doesn't even need to...
No!
No! Oh.
Score 0-1. Switching sides.
I am at
Rosie
a
here.
loss for words.
Match.
Swosu, you had everything going for you. You were doing everything right. You got the most important kill right out of the gate. Before the fight even started, you got the most important kill you could. That was everything going your way. All you had to do was stay on the cart for a handful of meters. Yeah, I know. There was a Wrecking Ball. There was Ram Rancher on the Reaper. Was coming up on your heels. You know, they were threatening. They were scary looking. I get it. Stand your ground. Stay on the cart, friends.
I want everybody to repeat after me. The payload is my friend. In a
Payload is my friend.
Yes, in a payload map, the payload is your friend. Whether or not you're attacking or defending, the payload is your friend. Because as a defender, being on the payload means it ain't going nowhere. And if you're an attacker, being on the payload means it moves further and further along where you want it to go. And well,
Billy, I'm not even
yeah.
mad. I'm just disappointed.
Oh God.
Attackers incoming.
Well, there's a dadism coming out, and I mean, I'm a dad, and I even felt that in my soul. Holy crap! Oh man, and UNO Black and company coming out with pretty much mirror composition. Cobra actually going to be on the Wrecking Ball here. So you know what? This is going to turn the heads of everybody. We're going to look for a swipe through. Oh Lord, he doesn't see it there.
The only mirrored hero is the last hero I expected to see on this map, and that would be the Junkrat.
Right.
What unusual compositions we got from both of these squads.
What
A Cobra in the full dive tank and nobody else to follow them in. We'll see how this goes. They go up onto the high ground, finding a couple of supports sitting up here, trying to focus down the Zenyatta. Zenyatta backs down into Main Street, where Sindar can heal them up in southwestern Oklahoma State University. Just kind of back up into this corner. This is like their fallback zone, their safety spot. Ooh, you know what was not a safety spot? That bear trap Virus is standing in.
Nope, and Ram Rancher and Shinji combining to take two of the most important pieces out of this defensive hold here. And yeah, this is going to be a full retreat here, back to spawn. Ram Rancher, well, Max actually gets the value there from Shinji, but gets taken down from Cobra for their trouble. So, I mean, for Cobra, not much to really deny them. Kyra going over to the on and out, so the sleep will be something that possibly Cobra doesn't realize is going to be on the table when they go in to get these pile drive engages. But look at the difference between Ram Rancher and Max. Max has gotten definitely the lion's share of the value on the Junkrat's tire already available.
is interesting because you figure Ram Rancher would have an easier time spamming. Ram Rancher did get the better end of that duel. With a little help from Cobra, let's not sell anybody short. It's a mean combo with the pile drive with the mines. Oh, but that's a lot of damage, Cobra. Oh, get out of there, get out of there. Oh, not even a wrecking ball fast enough to escape the vengeance of the Bastion of Virus.
Oh, no! They were not expecting the out. I told you. They were not going to be expecting the sleep coming through, and that's exactly what happened. And then they get bursted down by Virus on the Bastion. So, you know what? Singular good hold that we saw coming through from Uno Black on their defense. Now they're going to be facing it, but still. 3:52 here left on the clock. 4 ultimates ready to go.
Mines coming out first of those ultimates. Orbital using the projected shield to clear a lot of that. Cobra ends up take it down, but here's Attack Visor from the high ground. Immediate value onto Sandara. Now trying to find Orbital. Orbital lands the accretion, but eats a rifle butt right to the chin. And Shinji doing a lot of work here on the attack. Virus coming back with a nano boost. Looking to fend off the rest of UNO as they make an approach here. Just waning members of UNO Black. I see 3 at the moment.
Wait. Max with the R has lapped Ram Rancher as far as tires. That is not something easy to do with a easily spammable character like the Junkrat. Ram Rancher not getting the value on the Australian DPS hero that you would expect, and now it's a 4-pack of ultimates here defensively for Swasu. Uno Black just have the tire coming up online. Cobra back over to the Sigma.
I'm hoping for a big tire here from Southwestern Oklahoma State University, just because I like saying that name. That Junkrat player has a fun name to say. A lot of spam going in over that side, denying UNO Block any entrance to this high ground. Southwestern Oklahoma State really values this, and for good reason. With that overlook onto the cart, particularly with the Junkrat up here. It's going to be a Ram Rancher launching the tire first, pulling the cord on this into the back, and Sandara goes down. No time to get a Suzu out, and half the sport line gone. Max Witherman tries to respond, but M-Trekker all over it. Reads it like a book, and that tire didn't make it but a couple of meters before it's deflated and left sad here on the streets of Blizzard World. Virus falls. Cart only meters away from the box of victory. Kitsune rush out here from the defense of Southwestern Oklahoma State University. Shinji up on the high ground, only 20% away from Attack Visor with Cobra directly below him. Cairo on the Ana is able to finish off the soldier, and now Southwestern Oklahoma State swarm onto this cart.
I mean, it's all about cooldowns right now. 1.01 meters, 1 minute 30 left here. You've got a nano boost available. Nah, I mean, this is a reset right now. If I am UNO right now, I'm taking Ram Rancher off the Junkrat because they're getting, quite honestly, diffed. I throw it on a Hanzo. Give them a little bit of a longer range option to deal with Virus on the Bastion, or go over to Baptiste and have something, you know, to build up towards that window that they can just burst down the highly damage influenced defense coming into him. Whoa! Good lord.
That was a Biodate combined with a mine. Good 1-2 punch out of Max Witterman from Cairo. Virus with a follow-up onto Ram Rancher as well. And UNO struggling to even approach this cart.
They're going to go into artillery strike here very shortly, plus a nano engage. So I mean, I think you should throw it on the Virus, just let them burn down Cobra as they try to make their approach here. Unless there comes well, the anti wasn't the one I was expecting.
Redick Flux into a nano attack Visor. Gets one at least. Still some low health bars over there. Oro getting a little bit of healing as the nade is used defensively from Southwestern Oklahoma State University. This cart is starting to inch closer and closer to that box of victory. And Southwestern Oklahoma State are still back in this very defensive posture. Orbital sticks their nose out for a second, only to get it clean removed here by UNO Black. It took them until the very final push. But the Mavericks eventually get the job done, and University of Nebraska now up 2-0.
You know, Ram Rancher got, the short end of the stick as far as the Junkrat work here, but The fact that that concussive mine pushes Virus away on the Bastion and not allowing the touch to continue the contest, you know what, I give him a little bit of an extra gold star there. But, I mean, Virus just getting so much work done here. This is where they C9'd, by the way, chasing kills instead of making sure that the cart's going along. Not sure what happened with the rest of the team there because Virus was getting the work done, as you mentioned before we swapped over. But I tell you what, 2-0 lead here for UNO, and they're looking very clean. They're looking like they have a clear understanding of how they want to run this map. They've had a couple of stumbling blocks here, but for the most part, they've been able to correct the course after they've made, you know, the trip ups here and there.
Yeah, and I can't help but feel that we're sitting on a 1-1 score line if Southwestern Oklahoma State University continue to push the cart and they stay on the objective and keep that cart rolling, because it was their defense held until the very last moment. It was down to the wire, and that one unforced error really cost them. Now they're looking down the barrel of match point. We're going to take a quick little intermission. When we come back, we'll see if Southwestern Oklahoma State can fix these errors. It'll be Escort when we return. We'll see you in a minute. UNO Black up 2-0 here at the half, and well, it's on match point. One last chance for Southwestern Oklahoma State University to get themselves back into this series. Otherwise, we're going to see UNO Black moving up through the standings by a couple of notches.
Oh, yeah. And looks like we've got some bans and map picks coming in. So University of Nebraska Omaha have banned Shambali Monastery out. So Southwest Oklahoma State University have picked Junkertown, and we will see your University of Nebraska Omaha team out on the defense. So they want to see what kind of a benchmark they need to bring out here, and really want to see if we're going to have a double sniper look coming out from the defense. Also want to see if Zenyatta is going to show their face here, because Zenyatta typically works well here, especially from longer to mid-range. You can get those volleys in, especially if you're going to work in behind a Sigma or a Reinhardt. So there's some options here defensively. Now for Southwestern Oklahoma State University, we really would need to see them be able to take the back line out, because the back line have been peeling for each other. The DPS have been really working to make sure that they keep their back line up as well. So there's some things that they can do here to disrupt, but really their back is up against the wall here, Jeff.
It certainly is. And my hair is thoroughly disheveled. Why didn't y'all tell me that my hair is just like going... That's
your
ridiculous.
hair always go... At least you have hair.
True. It's true. It's true. I have enough for the both of us. How to get the angry stare from Billy. Anyway, what were we talking about? Junkertown? Lots of snipers, long range, most likely potent composition, so Sigma, Bap, Zen. Yeah, it's about what we expect.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll actually see how this goes out, honestly, because honestly, SWASU have had an issue finishing out maps here. Also, their line of engagement has been a little bit weird too. Forgetting that there was a payload involved there on Blizzard World. And honestly, I think that you're right. I think that we would have been looking at a tie score here if they would have just stayed on the cart or had somebody with presence on the cart, because they were winning that last fight on their attack phase. But as it stands, we'll see Riz come into the tank department here. And Sandara going to stay through here. Eden coming in here on the Cassidy. For your UNO squad, same looks. We got double hit scans for the defense, but only one sniper, and it's going to be Ash Reborn pocketing our Shinji on the Ash.
So it's our third different tank player coming in here for Southwestern Oklahoma State University in 3 maps. Virus still in, but staying in that DPS role. So, and then as you mentioned, Eden subbed in for Max Witherman. Virus making an early statement that the kill will get res. The statement will live on in the heads and the hearts of Shinji.
Well, Virus has really shown since the first map that they are a gamer playing tank on the first map, and now getting back into their more comfortable role of DPS, and they're going to find sightlines here, and I think they just cracked the shield of Cobra as well, so that's going to be off the table for just a few seconds. It's finally back and able to be brought up, but we do not see the Zenyatta that I was kind of hoping to see here to be able to chunk down some of these beefier targets. And the push is on. Eden takes down Ram Rancher, so there's a big amount of damage gone.
Oh, Cairo falls at a beautiful shot from Shinji. Able to get one, get the second. Oh, so close. Just barely misses the follow-up shot on the Eden to get both DPS back to back. Still beautiful work from Shinji. He's going to slow down this push coming out of the Bulldogs out of Southwestern Oklahoma State. And Mavericks able to briefly take a breath of relief, but losing Shinji's not good.
No, and they've actually swapped over to the Cassidy. So they want to go a little bit more close range with their attacks. And, well, early Deadeye from Eden takes down Ram Rancher. And I don't know if they're going to be able to get a res on top of this. No, they're not, because Eden just takes down the Mercy.
That was a nice move from Cobra to finish off Eden, but with the DPS gone and then that late kill onto Ash Reborn, Cobra just buying as much time as they can. And Trigger's going to go ahead and throw the nano on him. Riz very low, gets the heals there just towards the end of that. It was so close, the tank going down. Would have been disastrous there for the Bulldogs. Here comes a Gravitic Flux, and there we go. Riz eventually will fall. And Southwestern Oklahoma State suddenly finding themselves losing their power position.
And I mean, the fact that there is a Bursty available as you get the res to Ash Reborn, bringing up Ram Rancher, but gets killed again for their trouble. So now there's not going to be this long-range threat that a soldier would provide. Holy crap, what a shot from Virus.
Yeah, I'm not sure Sinji got word, at least didn't respect the Anthracite. And this one should push it home. No 2v5 antics out of Cobra this time.
Well, I mean, it just depends on if they're going to be able to push in there or not. If the soldier's going to be able to touch or not. Apparently not. And I mean, with 1 meter left, yeah, that'll be point A. Captured by Swasu here. And, you know, you've got a 3-pack of ultimates and almost another Deadeye. Eden is providing so much value on this Cassidy, not only with the eliminations, but also the pressure onto the Cobra shield.
Next challenge for the Bulldogs is how do they get UNO off of this high ground? Cobra able to shield everybody up here. Gravitic Flux could just be the answer. Ram Rancher falls immediately. Cobra able to shield as Riz is going to land on this platform, and it's a close and personal back and forth duel as both Sigmas are throwing hands here at point blank range. Riz decides to drop down, not very Riz of you. But I guess better to live in Riz another day.
Oh, I'm going to fire you for saying that. I'm going to fire you for saying that.
You don't have that power. Oh, how did that sleep get through?
I don't know.
Cairo landed that from underneath the shield. There was that little bitty gap, and Cairo somehow manages to weave that one in.
Caught the toe. Caught
Seriously?
the toe underneath the shield. But Shinji, onto the Cassidy, is getting the work done. And I mean, nope, we'll see how they build this through. I mean, the A and D little strafe here coming from Ram Rancher is throwing Virus for all the fits and conniptions that you could hope for. Now you're looking for the Kunai to be able to deal with some damage coming through. They think that somebody's up there. Riz over to a Winston. They're going to be able to get on top of the high ground that you were mentioning earlier, Jeff. That will definitely evacuate the top ground for UNO Black, but you can still land some decent damage on top of the Winston and see what you can pull out.
I love the coordination here between Riz and Virus as they move up to the top. UNO Black have answers, though, in the form of the Nano Tac Visor out of Ram Rancher. Virus immediately getting the brunt of that one. Nice sleep. Cairo, what a Suzu! Somehow Cairo's able to get out of that. It looked like certain death, and Eden comes through with a hero play. Cobra will eventually seal the fate of Anna, but Southwestern Oklahoma State University have gotten a presence here still. Cobra backs off, Riz backs off. Both teams take a breath.
Burst healing at a premium here for UNO Black. You've got the Moira on the field. You've got the Flux online, and you've got high ground positioning once again. So it's going to be very difficult, as we mentioned before, to dislodge this UNO team from the top ground. Now you're looking for Cairo to get this Nano on. You're going to throw it onto Riz. Riz is going to build up to the Primal Rage. That should be their ticket to go. However, Cobra does have an answer in this Gravitic Flux that will kind of deny the value coming out from this impending Primal Rage.
That Riz hasn't gotten it yet. The Gravitic Flux is used early. Now we've got the continuing rush on the high ground out from the Bulldogs. Pulse Bomb is going to land. That's 3 ultimates invested here from Southwestern Oklahoma State. Virus picking up 2, and the high ground has been thoroughly, what's the word I'm looking for? Exterminated.
Yeah, I mean, where did the Gravitic Flux go from Cobra? That was a win condition for them. They didn't get slept. I didn't see that they got punched out of it because Riz didn't have the Primal Rage up. So what happened? Did they just completely whiff? That may have just been a whiff from Cobra.
No, they got Riz with it, but Riz was nanoed, so the damage was minimized, and Cairo was able to just immediately heal them up. So it just didn't have a whole lot of impact. All it got was a nanoed tank. Now Cobra's up on this high ground trying to fend off Virus. Both of those players are actually just using a window and shooting out. Looks like UNO Black will claim this very important spot here on top of the spinner. Cobra having to back off. A lot of pressure here from Riz and Eden.
This is where I would be swapping over to a Diva, get in the face of Riz, and deal with the aggression coming through there. Shinji being antied up, not getting the healing they really need. We see Ram Rancher though going over to a Reaper. This should spell some issues here for Riz.
Oh, but Cobra might die there in the corner. Somehow, oh, it's a nano that comes out from Mimchecker, of course. Mimchecker saving Cobra, who has now pushed Riz all the way back into the pit. Riz should have a Mega down there to grab, and Cobra momentarily slept, but immediately woken back up. Ram Rancher indeed is going to make life difficult for both Riz and Virus as the defense puts a stop to this cart. 20 seconds to go.
Well, I mean, they're going to have Riz coming back on the Wrecking Ball. You've got 2 ultimates ready to go. There's Deadeye and the Gravitic Flux, so maybe a Sky Noon in the cards here for UNO Black.
Eden, you're going the wrong way. Eden, the cart's the other direction. All right, Virus will get the touch. It cost him their life, though. Here comes Riz in over the top. Should be able to stall out for a little bit, but Gravitic Flux is going to immediately put that Wrecking Ball down into critical health. Shinji with the Deadeye. Is able to finish them off. And it's a 3v2 left on this point with just 2 supports going up against Cobra, Ram Rancher, and Ash Reborn, who are able to just keep this cart from moving on any further. UNO Black finally put a stop here, but a good push out of the Bulldogs. They get this cart almost all the way through Junkertown.
I mean, it was on the back of some really beautiful play from Eden on the Cassidy, and then you saw Virus being able to click heads in opposition to what Eden was putting out there. So, I mean, the DPS duo here for Swasu really getting some work done and making life very uncomfortable for UNO Black. UNO Black did have some points where they were able to stymie the aggression in, but once the ultimate rotations were going against them, UNO did not have all the answers that we've seen so far through this series. So I think Swasu kind of sort of have figured out what UNO Black are all about, and they're starting to decipher the puzzle. Now it's going to come down to are they going to be able to hold them here in Australia, or are UNO going to take the 3-0 sweep? And it's going to be on the back of a double sniper look. Sundara is going to be out here on the Mercy, so you're going to have either a damage boosted Virus or a damage boosted Eden. Both are highly deadly, as we saw with their attack phase. So, I mean, for Riz, making sure that your backline and your DPS stay alive, that's the real key here for them to win.
I will say that UNO Black continue their streak of not allowing anybody to cap all 3 points on Escort. It has not happened yet this season. And that big defense there continues that trend. Now, I will also say that UNO Black have not won a game of push all season long either. So, if Southwestern Oklahoma State University can make a hold here, then they have a good chance to take us all the way to that map 5. An opening kill from Virus is a good start.
It's a great start. And now sight lines are going to be so important here in Virus. Definitely fighting their way through. Going to have to watch that. 20 health. They're going to get healed up, however.
UNO Black working up to the most important choke here of this objective. This choke that feeds into the courtyard. If you can break around this corner, the offense can get a lot of room to work and it become very difficult. But getting around this corner means going through the sight lines of everybody on the defending team. It's why our 2 Sigmas are just committed to fighting right on the corner. Each meter in either direction, very important for that positioning. And Shinji just figured out why. You overstep by a couple 2 meters, and Virus will take your head right off. Eden falls, but will get resurrected, so the defense back on top. Riz in a very bad spot. Here comes Sundara flying through with the save.
Oh, man. I mean, Riz, by all rights and means there, should have gone down there. And, well, it's going to be Virus and Eden. DPS duo here for Swasu, cleaning up the fight. And we're a minute and a half in, and we've only gotten around the first 2 corners. Still a lot here for Virus and company to do, and Ram Rancher is just getting picked out time and time again.
And this is one of the times where I feel like UNO are just making life more difficult for themselves than they need be. It's so tough for a Junkrat and a Soldier 76 to close the gap against this Ashe and Widowmaker composition. Oh, careful. Nice dodge. Riz is able to just sidestep the creation. Keeps backing up. It's going to draw Cobra into those sightlines. Cobra doesn't have any shield left. Trying to jump back down. Virus picks off Shinji instead. Cobra's still desperate to push to this point. That Gravitic Flux is going to find a couple. The Sleep Dart won't land. Nade has to be used from Cairo to keep themselves alive. Transcendence now from UNO, and here comes the rest of the squad. Rancher gets killed immediately. As soon as they step out into the open area, they get their head taken clean off. I'm sure shots came in from all directions, though Cairo credited with the final blow.
They have not been able to close the distance on Virus. That's the big difference between our first map and this map here, is that they have not had any answer to Virus on the Widowmaker. I would be throwing a Tracer. I'd be throwing a Diva in here. I'd be throwing a Winston, something to get them dislodged from their high ground. And, you know, Bob is going to be a great time waster here as we go below a minute.
One, maybe two chances here for UNO Black. All right, Wrecking Ball is one start. So Cobra, knowing that they got to get to the back line, they've got to find a way to pressure these two DPS. And it's going to go to the most mobile tank in the game and just see if they can slam them down. Cause a little disruption, maybe get the kill. Oh, the healing's too good. The nade on a Cobra means they got to get the heck right on out of there. Virus pops Infrasight, and Southwest Oklahoma State are doing okay.
Yep, this is going to go to map 4. I'm calling it right this instant. They have 0 engaged to take care of the 2 long-range threats. And with Bob online with sub 20 seconds, Jeff, this has gone from bad to worse for UNO Black.
It certainly seems like it's going to take quite a miracle play here for University of Nebraska Omaha to get anything done. And Rancher falls early. Tire's not coming out. Kitsune Rush now here from UNO Black, but Riz just swoops in from behind, scoops up the entirety of the team and says, get out of here. Junkertown belongs to Southwestern Oklahoma State.
And you know what? It was a compositional difference. Running the Junkrat the entire time. What was your plan with the Junkrat? You saw a couple of kills come through, but you were never able to put any pressure onto Eden and Virus. And they were able just to spray from the back. And I mean, just wonderful sight lines again from Riz. Riz really did have a good map here. And I mean, this is coming close to the overtime. That Gravitic Flux was everything that they needed. So we are going to a map number 4.
We are indeed. And as I mentioned during that map, University of Nebraska Omaha have yet to win a push map this entire season. Now, granted, that's only 2. You know, if I had a nickel, weird to tap in twice kind of thing. Seriously though, it's a small sample size. Yeah, I get it, but I mean, they haven't managed to get that first checkpoint either time that they've played push. So a real opportunity here, at least from what information we have in front of us, for Southwestern Oklahoma State to go ahead and send us right on over to map 5.
Well, I mean, the reverse sweep starts here, and they got the first hurdle out of the way, Jeff. So
yeah.
As we look at this push map, well, Swasu has put out the ban on Coliseo. So Esperanza or New Queen Street is going to be the call of the day here for our push map.
Well, and you think about, you know, being able to choose which map you go to is a very powerful tool, is a very powerful strategy, where you can build around the strengths of your team, your hero pool, etc. But when it comes to push, that is, you get 2 maps to choose from. So even though that UNO Black have their choice of maps here, because push is so new and options are so limited, it's honestly not that big of a strategic advantage for them.
Oh, it's all going to come down to personnel here. And you're not going to be able to play the Widowmaker and the Ashe here. The sightlines are just not good enough for those 2 heroes. Now, Eden did show us a lot on the Cassidy. So I think that if you wanted to run with the Southern Shooters, with an Ashe and with a Cassidy, you can get the work done there. Looking at Ram Rancher, though, the Junkrat pick was very weird there on Junkertown. I know that that's where Junkrat is from, but they just did not have an impact there offensively. So we're going to go to New Queen Street, Jeff. We're going to go to Canada. UNO has picked it. And we'll see what kind of a response here now that they have dropped a map up against this Swasu team. How are they going to be able to go into this map knowing that, you know what, if they lose this map, it's going to be map 5 coming up very soon?
Well, they're picking the Queen Street, I would guess, because it's a little bit more chaotic than Esperanza. So we've seen the Junkrat, we've seen the Reaper. These kind of heroes are going to work a lot better on New Queen Street. You've got a lot more avenues where you can kind of flank in, where you can get in off angles, where you can kind of nestle your way in like a tick just into the back line of your opponent and kind of destroy them from the inside out. So I expect we'll see similar hero pools come out from UNO Black, but it's just speculation. Only time will tell.
I mean, an aerial threat is something that we have not seen come out from UNO. So I think that, for UNO right now, maybe to do something that's unexpected is what is required here. And we'll see if that's actually going to be the case as we take a look at both these squads. They're going to show us their compositions here. Looks like Ram Rancher. They're going to run with a brawl. And I do not blame them one bit here. And it looks like it's going to be a little bit more of a up-close and personal fight here. Dive, looking to be the order of the day, coming out from your Swasu squad. Now, Sandara is going to have to use the Swift Step to stay in touch with Eden and Riz. And Virus is going to be putting the damage in from far away. So you've got speed. You've got up-close brawl potential here from UNO. I will give them the slight advantage unless you can see Eden and Riz get on the back line.
I mean, it's just a matter of you can keep Cairo alive. If Cairo, and then Riz on the front line, if UNO wants to just focus down the Winston, that is certainly an option. It shouldn't be as feasible an option if Eden and Virus are playing correctly. Riz just having, or excuse me, it was Cobra having a little nap there. Point presence belongs to UNO, and so does Tim Smith Sr. I guess technically the same thing.
Pretty much. Virus does get the kill, though, onto Ram Rancher, so that is a big amount of pressure for Riz to deny and not have to withstand here. And Virus gets 2. Nobody's dealing, once again, with the long-range threat.
Yeah, and this is exactly what Southwestern Oklahoma State wants. This is why we saw the early control from UNO. UNO is just everybody huddle up on Tim Smith and kill anybody who comes close. Well, Southwestern Oklahoma State, their plan is just sit all around you and poke at you from afar.
And, I mean, they haven't adapted whatsoever. Shinji is going to go over to...
Let's say we're seeing some swaps.
Yeah, we're getting some swaps here. We're going to see Cobra be able to engage with Shinji. So, I mean, this is definitely going to be a lot better for them. They're going to be able to get in on top of this Widowmaker. That's something that they were lacking throughout the entirety of Junkertown.
Yeah, we saw a late swap on the ball, but going on to 2 snipers is a lot tougher, especially in that big wide open Junkertown, versus than just trying to control Virus here in the much more narrow streets of Toronto. Nice sleep there from Asher Reborn. And now the 2 supports from UNO Black are going to loop back around to the street, but they're not there in time to save Ram Rancher. And the Bulldogs here managing to control both sides of the aisle, and Tim Smith still pushing forward. Contested just before the checkpoint here. I say just before. It's a solid 10 meters before. But that contestation not going to last as Cobra gets taken out. And the Bulldogs are moving this bot right along.
Swasu are feeling their oats right now. And this is going to be the checkpoint gained. They still have not dealt with Virus on the Widowmaker. That is still a threat from afar. And Cobra has gotten some work done. They do get the contest right before the checkpoint is gained. And there's the pulse bomb out, but they get out of it.
Yeah, no, checkpoint is there. You can see Tim scratching his rear. So our close respawns have been unlocked here for the Bulldogs. Very important. Rally out from UNO Black as they try to push forward. Imtrekker looks like they're looking around like, where's my team? Imtrekker wanted to get aggressive, and just nobody on the same page. It buys enough time for Virus to find 2 skulls. Virus just continues to be a menace, really heating up here over these last 2 maps.
I mean, really the difference between maps 1 and 2 and maps 3 and 4, and you know what? Virus has not been answered as of yet. Shinji's going to try and answer that bill now with the mid-range poke coming in from a soldier. Helix rockets will have to cause will have to cause this Widowmaker to reposition. But you know what? With these antis coming in from Cairo, it doesn't matter because your tank presence is gone.
Yeah, that was a nano boost she's going from Riz. God! Virus! Oh my, Virus seemingly can't miss right now. If Virus gets you in your sights, you might as well and just walk back to spawn yourself. I mean, just drop the gun, turn around, and just start walking. Of course, Virus dies as I'm bragging about him, but you get the point, friends. You get the point. Death Blossom out, and UNO Black having to invest to get this cart on the road. Not too heavily, but you know what? You take that if you're the Bulldogs.
You do. And, I mean, looking at how they're going to move forward here, I mean, they're going to have the Nano, which I would assume is going to go on the Ram Rancher, just for the extra burst damage going down. You got to watch out for Cairo with those sleeps, which they are landing with scaring, frightening rapidity. The other thing is that Shinji, you know, is starting to really find the range here with the pulse rifle. Nice move away.
That was a very good whip shot. The M-Trekker still dies in the end. Riz does fall, but there's a Kitsune rush that's thrown out from Southwestern Oklahoma State University. Cobra, though, beautiful move. Able to move in and assassinate Sundara. And UNO Black are actually hanging on as this fight develops. Now, they do lose the soldier. Oh, no, you can't lose Cobra, though. Okay, Cobra gets out of the purple, finds some healing. Ram Rancher falls, and UNO Black, it seems like every time they just start to get a leg up, the other one buckles underneath them.
Adaptability, and that's something that we've not seen from UNO Black. Once they lock a hero in, we don't see a lot of changes coming through. Ram Rancher still on the Reaper here. But Cobra with 2 from the mines. That's going to be a really impactful move going forward. And the EMP, they survived through that as well. So, I mean, God. Cairo Company, they're just not taking anything for granted here. They're confirming the kills. They're putting all the resources in to make sure that they get these kills going through. And Virus onto this Sombra has been a massive change and a massive boon for them.
I mean, just as lethal as the Widowmaker. I mean, what a huge wrench Virus has just thrown into this entire game. And UNO Black have not recovered.
Look at the swap again from Cobra. Over to the Orisa, so
yeah,
I mean,
you've got to get off the ball.
Yeah, you got to get off the ball. Now that they're going to see this, you know, what do we see Riz go, or I'm sorry, that Virus goes to now? Do you look at maybe the Pharah? Do you look maybe at a Junkrat once the cooldowns are gone? I mean, you're going to have your Oyster here being able to push it forward, and, you know, you're looking for the backline. That's a big hack.
Honestly, I'm not sure you change off the Sombra. The Sombra's working. And until UNO are able to definitively shut it down, I don't see any reason for Virus to stop. And so far, they're looking to agree with me. The Primal Rage is just enough to push Cobra out and just getting bullied. The poor Orisa. Feel like we gotta call animal control. Is it animal control if it's one animal beating up another animal? That just seems like nature.
Nature?
Yeah. Animals beat up each other.
I don't know if animals beat up each other. I know that they hunt each other. But I don't know if
there's
they...
definitely like territorial fights and stuff, but oh yeah. I'd be curious to see like a gorilla fight a horse, mind you. But you know,
right.
I don't know if it's that extreme. But no, there's definitely some nature fights. It happens. EMP out, and that's gonna hit a lot of people. Look at those health bars in the top left-hand corner. They're basically non-existent. Half the team already grayed out. And Southwestern Oklahoma State just takes one.
I mean, this is a complete and utter turnaround coming from Swasu Blue. You know, we were kind of questioning them. You know, what was their heart? What kind of compositions were they working? How are they going to answer back? Well, the answer is they're going to change everything up. And they're going to bring in substitutes. And this is actually starting to work now. Riz really getting the work done. And the dive has been clean. Virus, Eden, and Riz have been so clean going in.
Southwestern Oklahoma State now looking to clean this one off. Putting the clean and clean up. Virus coming through with the back couple of kills. It's a Kitsune Rush, a desperate move from UNO Black. They're with a minute and 50 to go. Try to do anything to stabilize here in New Queen Street.
I mean, by now I would have swapped off if I was Ram Rancher. You're not getting the work in on Riz. You haven't provided nearly enough value on the Reaper. I would have gone with something different a long time ago. But, you know, there's still some opportunity for them to push forward. This is going to be a Trekker hold here. Really bursting Riz down, and they're not allowing them to have their time here. So, minute 18, we do see the work coming in. They're going to hack the Mega here, so that's going to be an important resource out of the gate for UNO Black as they try to address around the corner. They're going to push a lot of pressure on here. And Cobra actually taking down Riz. That's a huge pick.
Yeah, it's a good start. It's going to find Cairo as well. Still a long way for this bot to go. Southwest Oklahoma State will be back about the 35-meter mark. I'd say is about how far this bot will get.
I mean, it depends on what happens with this pulse bomb. If Eden is not cognizant of where Cobra's positioning is, and they throw the javelin spin out there, it could get eaten. That could flip this entire economy all the way around.
Southwest Oklahoma State being a little patient. Bot 45. Eden the first to go in alongside Virus. They're going to find Ash Reborn immediately. What an incredible pick. A surgical strike. Shinji responds with an ultimate and is able to get a pair with that. Bosadara and Eden are going to fall to the tack visor. Now turning their intention on to Riz. No bubble. They just got to jump out of there. It's either jump forward or jump back. Opted to go back, hopefully to get some healing. But there is not going to be enough healing to go around. And Riz will not be able to contest. We're in overtime, but UNO Black have the close response.
Oh. Shinji starting to really find the range here with the pulse rifle. They're at the scratch moment here in 57.18 meters and counting now. And they're looking at the sound barrier. I'm sorry. Yeah, sound barrier and the Kitsune Rush coming up online. Ram Rancher with Death Blossom soon. EMP might just seal this entire fight, though, Jeff. Just depends on how many people they get with it.
Bulldogs need to be fast. They can't let the double support ults get all line, or this is going to get really messy. There's a moment here. EMP is way in the back. They want Shinji. They want the supports. Or they will get Shinji, and it's 3 ultimates invested in already here from Southwestern Oklahoma State. They've only got 1 kill to show for it. Now attention is turned on to Cobra and Ash Reborn. Ash Reborn has time to get the Consuming Rush out. Cobra's going to survive through the pulse bomb. Kill comes through him. Trekker takes Riz down. Cairo falls. And this bot is going to continue to move forward. Southwestern Oklahoma State emptied their entire war chest and they couldn't get it done.
And they're going to have a sound barrier at their back once Trekker is back on the scene, which they are. Sundara going down late. They are 12 meters away. They're going to have sound barrier at their back going up against this Primal Rage. Nothing else close.
Oh no, there's no way UNO pull this out. It was 120-0. Shinji has got the kill. The sound barrier is there. And the University of Nebraska are on top and moments away from one of the biggest comebacks I have ever seen on Push. Riz is going to get melted. Cairo falls. The tack visor. Bow supports down.
No way.
And UNO Black will not allow the reverse sweep. They will not even allow a map 5. They bring Tim Smith the entire way back in just under 2 minutes. The most insane comeback ever on New Queen Street.
I have never seen anything like that, Jeff. And I mean, they finally got it together in the 11th hour. And Virus doing everything they can to keep their team in this, and then at the end, it was just a little bit of panic. Once we started seeing some real push come through from UNO Black, Swasu started panicking, and they started throwing out ultimates when they didn't need to, and it led to them going down. The sound barrier from Trekker never giving up until the last seconds. That sound barrier keeping them up through the last fight. Actually, it was the Kitsune Rush that really sealed the deal as they were coming around the corner, going up the hill towards the cathedral. Man, UNO Black 3-1 victory. Unreal.
Unbelievable ending. There was just no shot, right? Like I'm saying, there's just no shot. You walk it back. 120-0 with 2 minutes to go. Like, there's no way. Like, all you had to do was win one fight as the Bulldogs. And that was the second to last fight. It was that 4-0 fight. That was the one they threw everything in on that one. That was the fight they had to win. They were able to get one. They got Shinji on the soldier, but that was it. Out of all of the ultimates they threw down, everything went into Shinji. And then the rest just stay alive. Cobra is able to live on the Orisa, and it is done from there. Good wherewithal from M-Trucker to hold on to that sound barrier in that desperate moment. No panicking out of University of Nebraska Omaha. What a finish. Unbelievable.
I am breathless. I am speechless. I am impressed. I am also sad for Swasu there, because that was going to be map number 5. I mean, we should be talking about going to map number 5 right now.
I was already thinking about it.
So was I. And I did not think that was actually going to be possible. And I think that it comes back on the back of the EMP, Jeff. I think that the EMP going for the back line rather than pressuring the point, I think that's where they made their mistake.
It was a risky move. I mean, you had to make a play. I mean, I can't really argue with you. I mean, hindsight's 20/20 and all that. Looking back, maybe Swasu would agree with you on that one. It's so tough. It's so tough to know. Man, that one, I think we'd have to go back and analyze. We'd have to go back and break down each team fight there in that final 2 minutes to really nail home what exactly Swasu should have done to give the Bulldogs a map 5. But I'm afraid that's just a pipe dream at this point, because this match is done and dusted. The night is over. UNO Black now sitting at 4-3 in the season.
Whew. Okay, I get to breathe now. This is my third cast of the day. We did some fun stuff earlier today, and I actually got to come in and fill for NECC with Chase earlier. Now, closing out the day here, you know what? Good day of Overwatch here at the NECC. Week number 8 is done and dusted, but make sure to tune in tomorrow. Rocket League Friday will be back here. I'm not sure if Rule 0 is going to be back tomorrow or not. The multi-view, almost like NFL Red Zone that we kind of experimented with last week. I'm not sure if that's going to be back tomorrow or not, but everything will be starting at 6 p.m. Eastern on NECC_Esports and NECC2. So make sure that you guys check that out tomorrow. I will be on the second channel, so I'm not sure if I'm going to be part of the Rule 0 or not. But Jeff, I mean, this was a series for sure.
This was a series. This was indeed Overwatch that we just watched get played. No, seriously, it was good stuff. It was good stuff. Congrats to UNO Black. And they continue to look strong. Can't help but wonder what would happen if they were able to play all of their matches, but they jump up a couple of ranks, now sitting in 4-3. So UNO Black, a team to keep an eye on here in the Challenger Pacific Frontier Division. And that's going to do it for our night. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. We really appreciate it. Thanks to Bryce and Petey behind the scenes, doing all the hard work there. Big shout out to NECC for having us here. And most of all, thank you very much for hanging out with us. Enjoying the fantastic games today. Have a wonderful evening. Hopefully we'll see you for some Rocket League tomorrow. Bye, friends.